Chapter 1204, Killing the Chicken to Warn the Monkeys. 2. Fengde turned back as he walked. When he saw the Yao family following behind him, he whispered to Leng Ruoxue, "Miss, they're following us. Ignore them. Let them follow us." Leng Ruoxue said calmly. The second elder of the Yao family was a suspicious person by nature and did not believe her words at all. Hence, it was normal for him to follow behind them sneakily. He. I can't let them follow me for free, I'll have to charge them for it. Fengde asked with an evil smile. Don't worry, there will be a time for you to collect the fees. Lead them up the mountain first. Leng Ruoxue whispered to Fengde, yes. Fengde nodded and immediately led the way as if there was no one else around. After walking for half a day and making a few turns, Leng Ruoxue finally brought them to the mountain peak where they were staying. However, she would not let them stay in the main residence. She had already instructed Fengde and the rest to build some wooden houses near the main residence. That would be their temporary resting place. Everyone. I'm sorry, but I'll have to trouble you to stay here. If you're not satisfied, you can set up your own tents. Leng Ruoxue led them to the wooden house and said to everyone. Ah. Looking at the simple wooden house in front of them and then at the tall and beautiful building not far away, everyone was a little dumbfounded. Weren't they guests? How could he let them stay here? At the thought of this, some people were dissatisfied. Miss Leng, aren't we your guests? How can you let us stay here? Someone couldn't help but ask. Who said you're my guests? If you don't live here, where do you want to live? Oh. You can also set up your own tent. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Not a guest. Don't forget, it was you who personally went into the forest to welcome us up the mountain. You should invite us into the main residence. That person said. I went to welcome you because you were lost, not because you are my guests. Besides, if I'm not wrong, some of you still want to give me a show of authority. Leng Ruoxue said. Although these people had gone up the mountain with her, many of them had ulterior motives. Hence, she naturally had no reason to be nice to them. The moment Leng Ruoxue's words left her mouth, everyone fell silent. Miss Leng, I'm very satisfied with this place. Thank you. Seeing that no one spoke for a long time, Qi Rui couldn't help but try to smooth things over. It's good that young Master Qi is satisfied. You can arrange your own accommodation here. I don't think it can accommodate so many people, so we can only do it on a first-come, first-served basis. Leng Ruoxue reminded. With that, she turned around and left with Fengde and the rest. Reading on MYBO Snow.com please. What kind of attitude is this? This is really too much. Looking at Leng Ruoxue's back, the person who had spoken earlier complained. Since you're so unhappy, why did you come with her? Qi Rui smiled and asked. After that, he didn't wait for the man's answer, and gave Ning Fei a look, then he led his clansmen into the wooden house. The wooden house was located diagonally opposite the main residence, with a river in between. From the main residence, one could see their every move, but the other party could not see Leng Ruoxue and the others. Leng Ruoxue returned to the main residence and brought Fengde and the rest to the living room. Master Ning and the others were already waiting for them in the living room. After Leng Ruoxue and the rest entered the living room, they each found a chair and sat down. Then, they saw Master Ning and the rest looking at them with anticipation. Godfather, I've brought them here. Leng Ruoxue chuckled and couldn't help but think to herself, this old man is really interesting. With his cultivation level, it's impossible for anything that happened in the forest to be hidden from him. Yet, he still has such a curious expression on his face. It's really disdainful. He. What was their reaction? Master Ning asked. Curious, dissatisfied, but I won't let them stay here. Leng Ruoxue said with a wicked heart. Actually, it was undeniable that she did it on purpose. She wanted to provoke those people on purpose. Otherwise, how could she continue with her act? Yes. Don't give them any food either. Let them go hunting by themselves. Master Ning agreed with a wicked smile. Don't worry, I didn't prepare their meal. Leng Ruoxue promised. Hee hee. Little girl, you're really mean, but I like it. The first elder said with a happy face. Every day with this little girl was so interesting that he didn't want to leave them anymore. What was he going to do? Shua, when do you plan to negotiate with them? Leng Ruhan asked. Brother, the initiative is in our hands now. There's no hurry. When they can't take it anymore, it'll show up. Leng Ruoxue explained. Yes. Leng Ruhan nodded in understanding. Just like that, for 3 consecutive days, Leng Ruoxue did not pay any attention to those people. In the beginning, many people thought that they would be treated like distinguished guests. However, they did not expect that when they went up the mountain with Leng Ruoxue, she would not even bother to have a meal. This fact made them feel extremely unbalanced. In addition, the thick-skinned Yao family members who followed along were fanning the flames, causing more and more dissatisfaction. Some people even crossed the river and started cursing in front of the Leng family's main residence. However, after cursing a few times, they were beaten up by a few people who rushed out of the main residence. Looking at the man's dying appearance, they were so timid that they didn't dare to make a sound. You guys saw it. I've already told you that Leng Ruoxue has no good intentions, but you all didn't believe me. The Yao family's second elder looked at the crowd and said with a pained expression. Second elder Yao, what do we do now? Someone in the crowd could not help but ask. Of course we should join hands and force them to leave, We have so many people to pressure her, I don't believe that Leng Ruoxue won't be afraid. The Yao family's second elder angrily shouted. Second elder Yao, well, listen to whatever you want to do. Someone echoed. Yup. Second elder Yao, well, listen to you, you make the decision. The people present quickly changed sides and cooperated. Not far away, Qi Rui and Ning Fei sneered at the ridiculous scene in front of them. They couldn't help but think to themselves, these idiots. If Leng Ruoxue was afraid that they would do something, would she have brought them to her own house? And they really thought that the Yao family's old thing was doing this for their own good. Chapter 1205, Killing the Chicken to Warn the Monkeys, 3. What do you think second elder Yao wants to do? Ning Fei asked Qi Rui curiously. What else can I do? He's just trying to stir up the public's dissatisfaction with Leng Ruoxue and the rest. By then, the Yao family can take advantage of the situation. After being ignored by Leng Ruoxue for a few days, these people's hearts had changed quite a bit. If the previous surprise had made them forget their original intentions, now they remembered it again because of anger. Yes, the Yao family has always been good at fishing in troubled waters. However, I'm afraid the Yao family will be disappointed this time. Ning Fei gloated. He knew very well that the ancestor of the Ning family was in the main house across the street. If these people dared to do anything, the ancestor would not let them go. Let's just watch the fun. Qi Rui chuckled as he looked at the impassioned crowd. Hee hee. I love to watch the Yao family's drama. Ning Fei said with a smirk. At this time, after the Yao family's instigation, everyone's anger had also risen. Then, led by the second elder of the Yao family, everyone crossed the river between them in an aggressive manner and directly arrived in front of the Leng family's main residence. Leng Ruoxue and the others heard the commotion and walked out of the courtyard with smiles on their faces. What are you guys trying to do? Leng Ruoxue knew what the advisor was going to say. After waiting for a few days, these people finally took action. She hoped that they would not disappoint her. Leng Ruoxue. You have to give us an explanation. The second elder of the Yao family roared. What kind of explanation? Leng Ruoxue was bewildered. Could it be that this old man had gone crazy from the shock? Otherwise, how could she not understand what this old man was saying? Did she have anything to tell him? You invited us up the mountain and then left us hanging. What do you mean by this? The second elder of the Yao family criticized. Second elder Yao, when did I invite you up the mountain? If I remember correctly, at that time, you were very firm in suspecting that I didn't have any good intentions and didn't come up with me at all. Len Ruoxue reminded. You never had a good heart. Even if I didn't want to go up the mountain with you, what about them? You personally invited them up, right? What's the meaning of this? They were all people of status. If word got out that you treated them like this, how would they face others? So, you must give them an explanation. The second elder of the Yao family said indignantly. Hee hee. I only found out today that the Yao family has such a sense of justice. Len Ruoxue chuckled. What's the meaning of this? The Yao family's second elder questioned in dissatisfaction. Reading on mybo.snow.com please. If second elder Yao doesn't understand the literal meaning, you can go back and check the ancient books. Moreover, although I invited them up the mountain, I didn't say that they were my guests. Since they can't even be considered guests, I naturally don't have the need to entertain them. Len Ruoxue said disapprovingly. Humph. What a sharp-tongued little girl, you're still quibbling. The Yao family's second elder had a disdainful expression. I'm just telling the truth. Len Ruoxue replied calmly. Good. Even if you don't treat them as guests, since you've invited them up the mountain, you should treat them well out of courtesy, right? The Yao family's second elder's mind whirred as he spoke with a cunning expression. I have one. Didn't I arrange a place for them to stay? Len Ruoxue played dumb. What's the use of just arranging accommodation? You don't even care about their meals. You've really gone too far. The Yao family's second elder berated. Second elder Yao, could it be that if a stranger goes to your Yao family, you will also provide him with food? As far as I know, only beggars would receive such treatment, right? Len Ruoxue asked with a smile. She didn't know if the second elder of the Yao family understood the beggar's meaning. You. Impudent. How dare you compare yourself to our Yao family? The Yao family's second elder was so angry that he blew his beard and glared as he loudly shouted. TSK, what does your Yao family have? Don't think that the Yao family is so noble. At this time, Fengde said with a look of disdain. You dare to look down on our Yao family? You really don't know what's good for you. The Yao family's second elder was so angry that his entire body trembled as he pointed at Fengde with a trembling finger and said fiercely. Second elder Yao, are you threatening me? Fengde's face was full of grievance. He kept looking at Len Ruoxue with a resentful gaze, as if he was saying, I didn't say anything wrong. Why would he be threatened? I'm just reminding you that our Yao family is not to be trifled with. The Yao family's second elder shouted at the top of his voice, not caring about his image. Oh, really? What will happen if we offend them? Len Ruoxue asked with a face full of curiosity. Actually, she didn't intend to treat the Yao family like chickens. However, the Yao family kept sending gifts to her. If she didn't express anything, wouldn't she be letting down their provocation and instigation? Therefore, she changed her mind at the last minute and decided to use the Yao family as an example. Her previous target, a family affiliated with the Yao family, naturally escaped the disaster. You'll definitely regret provoking our Yao family. Our Yao family's revenge will be carried out until death. The second elder of the Yao family said with a proud smile. Oh. Then I'd really like to see how your Yao clan will be executed. Len Ruoxue asked with great interest. After she finished speaking, she gave Fengde and the others a look. Fengde and the others understood her meaning and surrounded the Yao family in the blink of an eye. Looking at Fengde and the others who had surrounded them, the second elder of the Yao family's eyes glowed with a cold light. Then, he said with a slight regret, I originally wanted to let you live, but since you're looking for death, then don't blame me for being impolite. Let them know that our Yao family's dignity cannot be violated by anyone. The second elder of the Yao family said loudly. Yes. Yes, master. The Yao family members quickly responded. Then, the two sides began to fight. The people from the other forces were afraid of being affected by their Shin power, so they all hid to the side and watched the battle. However, no one had thought that this would be a one-sided battle. Feng De and the others were fast, ruthless, accurate, and merciless. Compared to them, the Yao family seemed so fragile, and their momentum was not as good. Chapter 12:06, Killing the Chicken to Warn the Monkeys. 4. In just a few breaths, half of the Yao family had been killed or injured. Damn girls, you're too immoral. You actually ganged up on me. Fight me one-on-one if you have the guts. The Yao family's second elder, who was being held back by several people at the same time, roared in anger. The anger in his heart grew even more when he saw that the other forces were just watching. Fuck, these unruly bastards. I stood up for them, but these people actually hid to the side to watch the show when they saw them getting beaten up. I really can't bear it. The second elder couldn't help but curse in his heart. Second elder Yao, we only care about the outcome of the battle. Who cares what methods they use? Besides, you can also gang up on us. I don't want you to feel unfair, but it seems like no one is going to help you. You can't blame me for this. Leng Ruoxue suggested innocently. Whoever wants to help the Yao family, come at me together. Leng Ruoxue thought for a moment and then said to the forces who were hiding at the side. However, all the major forces ignored her words and pretended to be stupid. Many people even thought in their hearts, attack together. After witnessing the other party's brutal means, how could they still dare? In their hearts, Feng De and the others were like the incarnations of the devil. They couldn't wait to hide, so they didn't dare to take the initiative to come to their door. Second elder Yao, I've asked around for you, but unfortunately, your Yao family's relationship with you is too bad. No one is willing to help you, and even your affiliated families don't want to work for you. I really feel bad for you. Leng Ruoxue incited. Her words angered the Yao family's subsidiary families, but no one dared to act rashly. Second elder, don't believe her. This woman is too evil. She actually wants to sow discord between us. Someone from the affiliated family shouted. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the people from the affiliated family of the Yao family glared at him. He was so scared that he shrank his neck and didn't dare to say anything. The Yao family's second elder was busy and didn't have time to deal with him. Not long after, all the members of the Yao family were dead, except for the second and fifth elders. The second elder, who was surrounded by Feng De and the rest, glared at Leng Ruoxue and said fiercely, how dare you order people to kill the members of our Yao family? Our Yao family won't let you off. You're all dead. Second elder Yao, you can't even protect yourself, yet you still dare to threaten us. Your courage is truly commendable. Feng De said with a smile. You guys wouldn't dare to kill me. Although the second elder of the Yao family was in a sorry state, he still spoke with confidence. Oh, really? I wonder why we don't dare to kill you. Leng Ruoxue asked out of curiosity. This second elder's ego was way too high. Reading on MYBO Snow Velcom please. I am the second elder of the Yao family. If you dare to kill me, our Yao family will avenge me. The second elder of the Yao family said matter-of-factly. So you're saying that the Yao family doesn't care about the others we've killed? AI. The big families are really heartless. They only want to avenge their elders and don't care about the lives of their clansmen. Leng Ruoxue sighed. Her beautiful face was filled with sympathy. Of course, she was pitying the abandoned members of the Yao family. Of course not. Our Yao family won't ignore the life and death of our clansmen. The second elder of the Yao family was stunned for a moment before he quibbled. He hated Leng Ruoxue even more in his heart. That damned woman. How detestable. She had deliberately distorted his words. Oh. Since your Yao family has come to seek revenge on behalf of your clansmen, then killing your two elders isn't a big deal. It doesn't make a difference to me whether I kill you or not. Leng Ruoxue chuckled calmly and said in an infuriating manner. As soon as she finished speaking, everyone saw a cold light flash from the saber in Feng Die's hand. Then, the fifth elder of the Yao family, who was covered in injuries, fell to the ground and died. Seeing this, everyone present could not help but gasp. They immediately became nervous. If this person dared to kill the Yao family elder, then wouldn't he have even less of a concern when killing them? At the thought of this, many people were afraid. However, they regretted even more that they had been incited by the second elder of the Yao family to cause trouble for Leng Ruoxue and the others. Now that it had become a huge problem, they did not know if the second elder would hold a grudge. Sob. At this moment, most of them were filled with regret. Fifth brother. The second elder of the Yao family was in extreme grief. That was his own younger brother. But now, she had died in front of his eyes. This caused his hatred towards Leng Ruoxue to deepen. Chapter 1207, He's Gone Crazy, 1, I won't let you off. You're all dead. The second elder of the Yao family said with hatred. I've heard many people say this before. However, those people all died in my hands in the end. Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. In her opinion, the threat from the Yao family's second elder was of no use to her. In any case, she had already decided to use the Yao family as a warning to others. Naturally, she wouldn't care about the threat from the Yao family's second elder. What an arrogant little girl. You'll definitely regret this. The eyes of the second elder of the Yao family were filled with anger and hatred as he glared at Leng Ruoxue. Oh, really? I'll wait and see. Leng Ruoxue laughed nonchalantly, not taking the second elder's threat to heart. Ha ha ha. You'll definitely regret this. After he finished speaking, the second elder of the Yao family decided to commit suicide so that Leng Ruoxue would be the one to blame for his death. After all, he knew very well that if only one elder died, the family might not do their best to avenge his brother. However, if an elder like him, who was proficient in formations, died as well, the nature of the matter would be completely different. His status in the family was extraordinary, so the family would definitely avenge him, even if it was only for the family's face and honor. However, before he could execute his plan, Leng Ruoxue saw through his plan. Just as he was about to kill himself, a white light knocked the blade away from his hand. In the next moment, he was subdued by Feng De. Why is second elder Yao taking things so hard? Haven't you heard of the saying, better to live than to die? Don't be afraid, I won't kill you. Leng Ruoxue consoled, but she could not help but laugh in her heart. If you want to die, I won't let you die. Since this old man wanted to use death to frame them, then she naturally couldn't let him do as he wished. Thinking of this, she took out a black pill from her ring and handed it to Feng De. Feng De understood and opened the mouth of the Yao family's second elder and threw the pill in. Then, he released his arm and threw the Yao family's second elder on the ground like a piece of trash. Cough, cough. Damn it. What did you make me eat? The second elder of the Yao family roared in shame and anger. Why did he feel so weak that he couldn't even stand up, let alone commit suicide? How could this be? It's nothing. Didn't second elder Yao want to commit suicide? I won't let you die. If you die, the Yao family will hunt me down until I die. I'm so scared. Leng Ruoxue said fearfully. However, there was not a single trace of fear on her face. Humph. It's good that you know. The Yao family's second elder had a smug look on his face. At this moment, he had even forgotten his current situation. Seeing the Yao family's second elder's smug expression, Leng Ruoxue smiled but did not say anything. Second elder Yao, there are too many people here. Even if you want to commit suicide, don't do it in front of our house. Go back to your Yao family and commit suicide. Feng De laughed evilly as he spoke. He couldn't bear to see the Yao family's second elder's smug expression. You want me to die, but I want tea. The Yao family's second elder said angrily. Not dead. Even if you want to die now, can you? I'm afraid that you can't even pick up a saber now. Feng De said. He had never doubted the effects of the young lattice pills, so he exposed the Yao family's second elder's words without any hesitation. Reading on mybo.com please. Who said that? The second elder of the Yao family said stubbornly. Isn't it? Then pick up the knife and let me see. Feng De looked at the Yao family's second elder provocatively. Just you wait. The Yao family's second elder said with a fierce look in his eyes. He would never admit defeat in front of these young brats. However, when he used all his strength to pick up the knife on the ground, he found that he couldn't even lift it. It seemed that the effect of the medicine was more powerful than he had imagined. He couldn't even lift the knife. Hee. Second elder Yao, I'm waiting. Feng De looked at the depressed expression on the Yao family's second elder's face, and his heart was filled with joy. You can kill me. The second elder of the Yao family said dejectedly. If you want me to kill, then I'll kill. Then I'll lose face. Feng De said with a smile, This old man wanted to frame them for his death just now. He would not be fooled. This old thing wanted to die, but he wouldn't let him. The Yao family's second elder was so angry that he couldn't speak. Unable to catch his breath, he actually fainted from anger. The crowd didn't know what to feel when they saw the scene of the Yao family's second elder not only failing to commit suicide, but also fainting from anger. This was simply too unbelievable. None of them had expected that the second elder of the Yao family would want to be killed after failing to commit suicide, and yet the other party would refuse to do so. AI. What the hell is this? However, after seeing the fate of the Yao family, many forces began to think of retreating. Some of them were still hesitating, and their thoughts of punishing the Yao family had to be dispelled because of the tragic situation. The Yao family's second elder has fainted, so I'll give you a chance now. If you have any ideas, you can all share them. Leng Ruoxu's beautiful eyes surveyed the crowd as she smiled calmly. However, no one responded to her for a long time. Don't you have anything to say? I'm giving you a chance. Leng Ruoxua continued to ask. Hee. Miss Leng, we're here to congratulate you, don't you think so? Ning Fei said with a smile. Yup. Our Qi clan has also specially come to congratulate Miss Leng. Qi Rui agreed. As soon as the two of them finished speaking, many people couldn't help but despise them in their hearts. People from the 8 great divine regions? This ability to change sides with the wind was really extraordinary. However, no one cared about what they thought. The Ning clan and Qi clan were not here to cause trouble for Leng Ruoxua and the rest. Leng Ruoxua and the rest were well aware of what they were thinking. What about you guys? Leng Ruoxua smiled as she asked the others. We're also here to congratulate you. The Qing family's elder leader said. To be honest, he was shocked by Leng Ruoxua and the rest's thunderous methods. One should know that the Yao family was ranked second in the 8 great divine domains, but they had annihilated them without a second thought. Hence, he, who had been observing the situation, could only express his position in advance. Furthermore, he also remembered what the eldest miss had told him before he came. Leng Ruoxua could only be friends, not enemies. Chapter 1208, She's Gone Crazy, 2, Elder Cheng is indeed a wise man. What about the rest of you? Leng Ruoxua nodded her head in satisfaction and continued to ask. We are too. Immediately after, another force echoed. The Yao clan was only left with an unconscious commander, and the Qing clan had also gone with the flow, so what were they still hesitating for? Yup. That's right. We're all here to offer our congratulations. Seeing that someone had taken the lead, more and more forces began to give in. Very good, he said. Leng Ruoxua was very satisfied with their tactfulness. She then turned her gaze to the few affiliated families of the Yao family who had not spoken. She said in an understanding manner, I know your relationship with the Yao family, so I won't make things difficult for you. You just have to tell me whether you want to live or die. Even though Leng Ruoxue had a smile on her face when she said this, anyone who wasn't an idiot could tell that she was threatening them. The few families under the Yao family were no exception. The few families were still a little hesitant. After looking at each other, they made up their minds and said in unison, "Of course we want to live. We didn't want to be enemies with young Lady Leng, but the Yao family's second elder forced us to." Taking advantage of the fact that the second elder of the Yao family had fainted, the other families pushed the blame onto the second elder. After all, the other party had even dared to kill the Yao family, so why would he care about these small fries? They didn't want to die here, but their words were heard by the second elder, who had just woken up. "How dare you all betray the Yao family?" The Yao family's second elder roared furiously, his entire body trembling in anger. "Second elder, we didn't betray the Yao family. Please don't misunderstand us," the leaders of several families said hurriedly. Their hearts were beating nervously. Why did this old thing wake up and hear what they said just now? What should they do now? For a moment, they were all a little afraid, but after a moment of fear, they saw the tragic state of the Yao family's second elder and felt relieved. Now that the second elder was in a difficult situation, he would probably not have the chance to blame them. I heard it with my own ears, how could it be fake? The second elder of the Yao family snorted coldly. He would deal with these despicable people when he returned to the Yao family. He couldn't fall out with them now, as he still needed them. However, as the saying goes, when a tiger falls into the sun, it will be bullied by dogs. At this moment, in the eyes of the affiliated families, the second elder of the Yao family, who had a rather high status and identity, was a tiger that had fallen into the sun. As a result, they were no longer afraid of the second elder's cold words. "Second elder, you've misheard." The leaders of the affiliated families looked at each other with tacit understanding in their eyes. They knew that as long as they didn't admit it, the second elder of the Yao family wouldn't be able to do anything. Thus, they became fearless. How audacious! Now, you even dare to fool me. I think you're tired of living. When the second elder of the Yao family heard their words, he was so angry that he shouted at the top of his lungs. Second elder Yao is really full of himself. You can still shout so loudly now. Leng Ruoxue chuckled and teased them as she looked at the dog-eat-dog fight. Hee. You don't have to be afraid of second elder Yao now. Even if he wants to kill you, he can't do it. Feng De also reminded him with an evil smile. Yes, there are so many of you. There's no need to be afraid of him. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Reading on mybo.com please. Initially, Leng Ruoxue didn't want to interrupt them when she saw them coaxing each other. However, she felt that these people were too hypocritical. They had argued for a long time, but they didn't get to the point. That was why she wanted to add fuel to the fire. Otherwise, when would they be able to turn against each other? She was still waiting to watch the show, and at this time, she estimated that the medicinal pill that the Yao family's second elder had just taken should be almost finished. As she thought about it, she saw the second elder of the Yao family stand up from the ground and charge straight at the leader of the subsidiary families closest to him. In an instant, the leader's head fell to the ground and he died. Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but clap her hands as she smiled. The second elder of the Yao family is indeed extraordinary. He's able to face so many people as if no one was there. I really admire him. Leng Ruoxue, our Yao family will never let you off. After killing one person, the second elder of the Yao family was in a good mood. He didn't plan to continue killing. After all, with the death of a leader, the other affiliated families were on guard. It wouldn't be so easy for him to attack again. Second elder Yao, I've heard these words of yours many times. Change it to something new. Leng Ruoxue was extremely calm and did not take the threat from the Yao family's second elder to heart. After all, she had grown up in fear. You will regret killing my Yao family's member today. The second elder of the Yao family said. Isn't that the same? Leng Ruoxue was still not satisfied. The Yao family's second elder was so angry that he was at a loss for words. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. Why is this damned woman so difficult to serve? However, he no longer wanted to die here. He had thought it through. If he really died and the Yao family did not do their best to avenge him, then wouldn't his death be in vain? Hence, he had to think of a way to return to the Yao family. However, he was very clear that Leng Ruoxue would not let him leave this place easily. Hence, he had to think of a good plan. When he thought of this, his eyes rolled back and he fainted again. Of course, he was pretending this time. Why did the old man faint again? Leng Ruoxue mumbled to herself as she pretended to be confused. However, she was laughing to death in her heart. Ha! Did the second elder of the Yao family change his strategy? He even pretended to faint. She had to cooperate, or else wouldn't it be a waste of the Yao family's second elder's hard work in acting? Young miss, second elder Yao should be old, that's why he faints so easily. Fengde said very cooperatively. Fengde, I have a pill here, quickly give it to second elder Yao. He can't die here, the second elder has a high status in the Yao family. Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly as she took out a grey pill from her bracelet and passed it to Fengde Deo. All right. Fengde took the pill and pried open the Yao family's second elder's mouth in the same way he did before throwing the pill in. Chapter 1209, She's Gone Crazy, 3. The pill was extremely bitter and it melted in his mouth. The moment it entered his mouth, the second elder of the Yao family almost jumped up. However, in order not to let Leng Ruoxue and the others see through him, he suppressed the bitterness in his mouth and laid on the ground, not moving at all. After waiting for a while, Fengde saw that the second elder of the Yao family showed no signs of waking up, so he said with a bitter face, Miss, is the Yao family's second elder about to die from anger? Why hasn't there been any reaction after so long? It's okay. I still have a lot of pills here. Give him all of them to try. He'll wake up eventually. Leng Ruoxue laughed. She then took out a white jade bottle from her bracelet and passed it to Fengde. Yes, yes. Fengde happily took the pill and pried open the mouth of the Yao family's second elder again. However, the second elder, who didn't want to eat any more of their pills, kept his mouth tightly shut. Seeing this, Fengde could only punch at the second elder's mouth. Immediately, blood flowed out of the second elder's mouth, and a few of his teeth fell out. This time, even if he didn't want to open his mouth, Fengde had a way to make him eat the pill. The second elder of the Yao family, who had been ruthlessly punched, had an extremely strong will. Even though he had lost a few teeth, he still lay on the ground and pretended to be dead. After everyone saw Fengde's rough methods, they couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Fuck, he's really too barbaric. Poor second elder of the Yao family. He couldn't escape this even if he fainted, he was really too unlucky. The more observant ones among them could naturally tell that the second elder of the Yao family had not truly fainted. However, it was also because of this that they admired the second elder's flexible character. Fengde threw a few pills into the gap between the teeth of the Yao family's second elder, while carefully observing his reaction. When he saw that the Yao family's second elder still didn't move, he kept throwing the pills into the Yao family's second elder's mouth. Those pills were of different colors. Although Fengde didn't know all of their medicinal properties, he was very clear that the pills given to him by the young lady would definitely not make the second elder of the Yao family feel comfortable. Hee hee. They just didn't know if the second elder could bear with their experiments. After waiting for a while, he noticed a pained expression on the second elder's face. Although it was very subtle, he still noticed it with his sharp eyes. Seeing this, he continued to throw the pills in the small porcelain bottle into the second elder's mouth. When the pill entered the mouth of the second elder, he couldn't spit it out even if he wanted to. Furthermore, there were all kinds of feelings in his mouth. At first, it was extremely bitter, then it was extremely sour, then it was so spicy that he almost bit off his tongue. Finally, it was extremely smelly. However, he could only endure it. Otherwise, all his previous efforts would have been in vain. However, What made him even angrier was that when the other party saw that he was unwilling to wake up, he actually threw a large number of medicinal pills into his mouth, causing his mouth to taste bitter, sour, spicy, and stinky. All the tastes were mixed together in the end. It was so painful that he almost cried, but he could only endure it. "Miss, do you have any more medicine?" Feng De asked again when he saw that the medicine in the porcelain bottle his young lady had given him was empty. "There are a lot of them." Leng Ruoxue chuckled and took out a few porcelain bottles from her bracelet, handing them all to Feng De. "Hee. My goal is to wake up the Yao second elder, and I will not stop until I achieve my goal." Feng Dace was also very firm. Reading on MYBO Snow Velcom please. "Captain, let me help you." "So many pills, when can you finish feeding them?" Lin Yuan chuckled as he walked to Feng Dace's side and said. "Yes, let's feed him together." Feng De nodded. He opened the bottle and poured the pill into the second elder's mouth. Lin Yuan, who was at the side, followed Feng Dace's example. He opened the bottle cap roughly and poured all the pills in. Fortunately, the pills melted as soon as they entered his mouth. Otherwise, the Yao family's second elder's mouth would be stuffed. At that time, he would not be able to play dead even if he wanted to. After each of them finished a bottle, the two of them continued to pour the other pills into the mouth of the Yao family's second elder. This scene made everyone's heart tremble in fear. Fuck. He didn't know what kind of pills they were, but wouldn't it kill him if he ate them like this? At this moment, they were full of sympathy for the Yao family's second elder, but no one spoke up to plead for him. The Yao family's second elder, who had been lying on the ground and feigning death, couldn't hold it in any longer after being forced to drink several bottles of flavorful pills. He jumped up from the ground with a schwa, then bent down and kept retching. Although he couldn't vomit anything out, the strange and mixed taste in his mouth stayed in his mouth and didn't dissipate for a long time. "Miss, your medicine is really effective. The second elder of the Yao family has woken up." Feng De said happily. "Yes, my pill will save him even if he's half dead." Leng Ruoxue teased calmly. "You," the second elder of the Yao family, who had vomited for a long time, pointed a trembling finger at Leng Ruoxue. However, he could not complete a single sentence. There was even a metallic taste in his throat. The next second, he fainted again. This time, he was definitely not pretending. "Miss, he fainted again." Feng De reminded everyone of the facts they had seen and even kicked the second elder of the Yao family a few times. "This old man's physical fitness is too poor. He's really wasting my young miss medicine," Lin Yuan said with slight dissatisfaction, and also took the opportunity to kick the Yao family's second elder a few times. "Ai. So what if he fainted? In a moment, hand him over to the Yao family's subsidiary families and have them bring second elder Yao back to the Yao family." Leng Ruoxue said helplessly, "Hee." She decided to let the tiger return to the mountain. "And, that's all we can do. We can't take him in." Feng De agreed. Then, Feng De said to the members of the Yao family's affiliated families, "When you leave, don't forget to bring this second elder of the Yao family back to the Yao family, yes?" "Yes." When the people from the Yao family's affiliated families heard this, they hurriedly nodded, and their hanging hearts were greatly relieved. That was close. They knew very well that the other party was probably planning to let them go by saying this. Therefore, they had to perform well and fight to go back alive. Chapter 12:10, She's Gone Crazy. For anyone else who has any objections to my choice of the Nightmare Forest as my territory can speak now. If you don't speak now and I hear it behind my back, you will end up like the Yao family. Leng Ruoxue said emotionlessly. We have no objections. The people from the various forces hurriedly said. Fuck, these people were all like fiends. Who would dare to have any objections? Could it be that their power was greater than the Yao family? They even dared to kill the Yao family, which was ranked second among the 8 great divine regions, not to mention them. Besides, this forest didn't belong to any family. Since no one else said anything, naturally no one would be willing to be the bird that would stand out to find trouble. Leng Ruoxue saw that no one objected and could not help but nod her head in satisfaction. She then chuckled, "Actually, there is no need for all of you to come here and question me. Although I have taken this nightmare forest as my territory, you can still come to the outer regions of the forest to train. As for the 3 mountains in the deeper regions of the forest, none of you are allowed to take even half a step into them without my permission. Otherwise, I will not be responsible if any accidents happen." When the factions heard that they could come back to the forest, for some reason, they didn't feel happy at all. Instead, they suddenly thought of the poisonous scorpions, poisonous bees, and giant spiders they had encountered a few days ago. Now that the forest had a terrifying and cruel master, their desire to train here had waned. Furthermore, this forest wasn't the only forest on the godly mainland. They could go somewhere else if they didn't come here. Therefore, many people had already made up their minds that they wouldn't come here again even if they were beaten to death. However, most of the people who came here were smart people. Naturally, they would not reveal anything on their faces. Not only that, they even had to hypocritically echo Leng Ruoxue's words. "Miss Leng is really a reasonable person. This one is impressed," someone in the crowd said. "Yup. If we had known that Miss Leng was so reasonable, why would we have come here to find trouble? It's all the Yao family's 5th elder's fault, he was the one who wore the armor." Someone had directly betrayed the 5th elder of the Yao family. Since the 5th elder was already dead, he couldn't climb out of the ground to settle the score with them even if the dirty water was poured on him. "That's right, it was the Yao family who incited us. We didn't intend to come here to find trouble with you, Miss Leng." There were people constantly adding insult to injury. The Yao family's people were almost completely annihilated, and the only one alive even fainted from anger, so they had nothing to fear. "I know. However, the Yao family has suffered heavy losses this time. If the Yao family finds out that you've just stood by and watched, I'm afraid," Leng Ruoxue wanted to say something but stopped halfway. "Don't worry, Miss Leng. We all know that the Yao family was killed by poisonous bees and scorpions. It has nothing to do with you." The moment Leng Ruoxue finished her sentence, someone in the crowd started to cooperate. Even though this person's words made everyone present look down on him, they had no choice but to cooperate. Leng Ruoxue was right. The Yao clan would definitely blame this on them. After all, the Yao clan had all died. Even if they said that it had nothing to do with him, with the extreme character of the Yao family, no one would believe them. Leng Ruoxue was extremely satisfied with this person's understanding of the ways of the world. "Miss Leng, this 2nd elder Yao is still alive. Will he betray us?" At this time, someone could not help but ask. "Do you think anyone would believe his words with his current state?" Leng Ruoxue looked at the Yao family's 2nd elder, who had just woken up. "Reading on MYBO Snow Velcom please." "Ah." The person who asked was speechless. The Yao family's 2nd elder's current appearance was quite miserable. He was in a sorry state from head to toe and even lost a few teeth. Moreover, the 2nd elder, who had just woken up, was looking at the crowd with a dazed expression, saliva flowing down from the corner of his mouth. "Hee hee. Mother. I'm hungry." The 2nd elder of the Yao family shouted at a slightly chubby middle-aged man. Everyone fell silent. They looked at the Yao family's 2nd elder as if he was a monster. There was only one thought in their minds. Had the 2nd elder of the Yao family gone mad? "Mother. I'm hungry." Seeing that he didn't get a response, the 2nd elder of the Yao family didn't give up and continued to call out. He even ran in front of the person and clutched at his clothes like a spoiled child, putting on a pitiful and aggrieved expression. Chapter 12:11, Probing, 1, "I'm not your mother, go away. Get away from me." The middle-aged man bellowed in shock, his face completely red. He used all his strength to push away the 2nd elder, who was gripping his clothes, but he accidentally overused his strength and pushed the 2nd elder to the ground. However, the 2nd elder of the Yao family was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. After getting up from the ground, he unwillingly ran to the middle-aged man and cried out with an aggrieved face, "Mom, don't ignore me. I'm wrong. I'm not your mother. Get away from me." The middle-aged man couldn't take it anymore and shouted, "Mother!" The second elder of the Yao family had an aggrieved look on his face. His eyes were still filled with tears as he looked pitifully at the middle-aged man. His appearance was truly as pitiful as it could be. "Go away. You're not allowed to call me mother." The middle-aged man was furious, but he didn't dare to do anything to this crazy second elder. "But you're my mother." The second elder of the Yao family mumbled softly, his eyes occasionally stealing glances at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man felt like he was about to go crazy, but he couldn't do anything about the second elder of the Yao family who had identified him as his mother. He looked at the others with pleading eyes, but no one was willing to help him out of this situation. Actually, it wasn't that everyone didn't want to help him, but that they couldn't help him, because right now, everyone was basically struck by lightning, and the sky was rumbling with thunder. That was the only thought in everyone's mind. Moreover, they didn't know how to help. The second elder of the Yao family was clearly acting like a baby who hadn't been weaned yet. Judging from his behavior, he seemed to be certain that the middle-aged man was his mother. They couldn't possibly forcefully separate the mother and son, right? "Miss, do you think he's really crazy or is he faking it?" After seeing this scene, Feng Die's forehead was full of black lines, and he couldn't help but ask. "If you think he's really crazy, then he's really crazy. If you think he's pretending, then he's not," Leng Ruoxue said in a tongue-twister-like manner. "Ah. Miss, words are getting more and more profound," Feng De said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. "Ha ha ha. It looks like things are getting more and more lively," Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. She had really underestimated the second elder of the Yao family. She didn't expect him to be able to do this. In fact, she knew very well that the second elder of the Yao family had not gone mad at all. He had only played the fool in order to survive. Otherwise, the second elder of the Yao family was afraid that they would come up with some way to torture him. But one thing was for sure, the first thing the second elder of the Yao family would do when he returned to the Yao family was to get rid of these people from the affiliated families, and then take revenge on them. Should she really let the tiger return to the mountain? Forget it, let's see the performance of the Yao family's second elder first, Leng Ruoxue thought to herself. "Miss, you're keeping us in suspense too." Feng De couldn't help but complain. "Reading on mybo.com please." "Ha ha ha. Then what about your own judgment?" Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. "I think this old man is definitely pretending to be crazy. We gave him so much medicine just now, but he would rather pretend to be dead than wake up. How could he really be crazy?" Feng De analyzed. That old man's will was firm, and he had a strong heart. It was impossible for him to go crazy over such a small blow. Hee hee. We just need to watch the show. Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly. Since this old man liked to play the fool, if she didn't cooperate with him, she would be letting down this old man's acting skills. Thinking of this, she turned around and whispered a few words to Feng De. After that, Feng De turned around and left. When Feng De came back, there was a piece of raw meat in his hand. The meat was still dripping with blood and looked very fresh. Feng De walked up to the second elder of the Yao family and looked at him with a kind expression. He even patted his head as if he was petting a puppy, then said, "Little Yao Yao, don't pester your mom. Aren't you hungry? Uncle has a piece of meat here, you should eat it quickly. Don't starve yourself, or Uncle will be heartbroken." Ah! When the people present heard Feng Die's words, the corners of their mouths could not help but twitch, and black lines appeared on their foreheads. They all thought in unison, "This guy is too bad. He actually took a piece of raw meat covered in blood and let the second elder eat it. He even called her little Yao Yao and considered himself uncle. He was too shameless." However, they didn't dare to say this out loud and could only think about it in their hearts. When the second elder of the Yao family, who was playing the fool, heard Feng Die's words and looked at the piece of raw meat in his hand, he resisted the urge to vomit. His brows furrowed even more imperceptibly, and his mind quickly turned. In the end, he had no choice but to reach out and take the piece of meat that was still dripping with blood. Even though he really didn't want to take it, he was afraid that if he refused, Leng Ruoxue and the others would find out that he was pretending to be crazy. This was because he was very clear that if he didn't want to die now, the other party would most likely not let him off. He still wanted to keep his life and return to the Yao family. Therefore, no matter how disgusting it was, he had no choice but to swallow this piece of meat. That piece of meat was very fat and looked very greasy. Although the Yao family's second elder had made up his mind to eat it, he couldn't bring himself to eat it. His heart was in a dilemma. Little Yao Yao, why are you not eating? Weren't you hungry? Hurry up and eat. This big piece is enough for you to eat, don't be afraid. No one will fight with you for it. Feng De smiled as he consoled her, but he almost laughed in his heart. The young miss was really too evil. She actually wanted the second elder of the Yao family to eat raw meat. Not only did the meat look bloody, but it was also very fat. Just looking at it made people feel disgusted, not to mention eating it. After hearing Feng Die's words, the second elder steeled his heart and stuffed the bloodied meat into his mouth. The meat was smooth and greasy, and the tendrils were thick, with a faint fishy smell. In addition, his front teeth had been knocked out by Feng De, so he could not break the meat after biting it several times. Instead, the feeling of wanting to vomit kept surging up his throat. Little Yao Yao, uncle was wrong. I shouldn't have given you such a big piece of meat. You don't have teeth. Come, uncle will cut it into small pieces for you. Feng De watched the battle between the second elder of the Yao family and the piece of meat and laughed to himself. However, he put on an expression as if he had done something wrong. Then, he snatched the piece of raw meat from the second elder's mouth and took out a knife from his storage ring. Shwa! Whoosh! In a few moments, the meat was cut into small pieces. The fat and thin parts were evenly distributed. After cutting, he carried the meat on a huge leaf and returned it to the Yao family's second elder. Chapter 12:12, Test 2. The second elder of the Yao family looked at the piece of meat in his hand and felt like crying. In order not to let Leng Ruoxue and the rest notice anything amiss, he had no choice but to swallow the things he had vomited. Then, he picked up a small piece of meat and put it in his mouth. He swallowed it without even chewing. After a long time, Feng De was full of admiration when he saw that the second elder of the Yao family had finished all the meat. Then, he took out a piece of meat from his ring and cut it into small pieces. He handed it to the second elder and said with a smile, "Come, little Yao Yao, eat more. You're still growing, so don't starve yourself." Uncle. I'm full. The Yao family's second elder said as he tried to hold back his nausea. He really didn't want to eat anymore, and he couldn't eat anymore. Otherwise, he would be exposed. Moreover, the meat Feng De took out this time was even fatter than the previous one. Damn it, wasn't he deliberately messing with him? Actually, he had guessed correctly. The reason why Leng Ruoxue had Feng De do this was to prank him. She wanted to see how much this second elder of the Yao family could endure in order to play the fool. Furthermore, this was only the beginning. Little Yao Yao, kids can't lie. You're obviously not full, how can you lie to uncle? Don't you guys agree? Feng De said disapprovingly, then asked the others. Yup. Little Yao Yao, hurry up and eat. Chi Rui said cooperatively, but he was already laughing in his heart. This second elder of the Yao family was truly too pitiful. Did he think that he could escape just because he was crazy? Based on his understanding of Leng Ruoxue and the rest, he knew that it was impossible. They would not let him off so easily. Little Yao Yao, hurry up and eat. Look at how well this uncle is treating you and how much he cares about you. Yup. Little Yao Yao, a child can't disobey an adult's words. Just eat when I tell you to. Under the pressure, everyone had no choice but to speak up to persuade him. Their words made the Yao family's second elder secretly hate them, and he secretly memorized the people who spoke. Humph. It'll let you be proud for a while, but you'll regret it later. Little Yao Yao, look at all the uncles and aunties who are so concerned about you. You can't let down our good intentions. Feng De reminded him with a smile. Oh. Yes, the Yao family's second elder responded softly. He then unwillingly picked up the meat and began to stuff it into his mouth. However, when he endured the disgust and finished the meat, he realized that Feng De had taken out another piece of meat. He did not even think and pretended to faint. Ah! Little Yao Yao, what's wrong with you? Feng De was greatly alarmed and kicked the Yao family's second elder with a concerned expression. Miss, he fainted again. Get the medicine. Feng De said nervously when he saw that the second elder of the Yao family had no reaction. The Yao family's second elder probably fainted from hunger. You just have to feed him more. Len Ruoxue reminded. Reading on mybo.snow.com please. Oh, right. How could I have forgotten about this? Feng De patted his forehead as if he had suddenly realized something. Then, he lowered his body and brought the meat to the mouth of the Yao family's second elder, coaxing, Little Yao Yao, Uncle knows you're hungry. Hurry up and get up to eat. If you don't get up, Uncle will throw you into the forest to feed the wolves. Ah! When everyone heard Feng De's words, cold sweat trickled down their foreheads and they secretly cursed him. This person was really too bad. He wanted to wake up the second elder of the Yao family to eat and even threatened him. However, they were more curious whether the second elder of the Yao family would really wake up. After a long while, Feng De saw that the second elder of the Yao family was still pretending to be unconscious, so he directly instructed Lin Yuan, bring a wolf over. All right. Lin Yuan replied with a bitter smile. The captain asked him to lead a wolf, but he didn't have any wolf-type beasts, so where was he supposed to lead one? He was in a difficult position. After thinking for a while, he suddenly had an idea. He turned around and ran into the forest. An hour later, he returned, and beside him was a pitch-black, enormous wolf. That wolf's eyes were deep and fierce, and with one look, one could tell that it was a very bloodthirsty beast. Big Black, eat him. Lin Yuan pointed at the Yao family's second elder who was still lying on the ground. Master! Can I really eat him? The giant black wolf said with uncertainty. Of course. Lin Yuan nodded his head. After the giant black wolf received an affirmative answer, it strode to the side of the Yao family's second elder and sniffed. Then, it said with a look of disgust, Master, this person is too stinky. Can I not eat him? Big Black. He was a high-level deity. If you eat it, you might be able to advance. Lin Yuan reminded. I know, but I really don't want to eat him. Although I'm a wolf, we wolves also have taste. We don't just stuff everything into our mouths. The black wolf said seriously. To the second elder of the Yao family, who was pretending to be unconscious, its words were like sarcasm. He was worse than a wolf, and he would put anything into his mouth. When the people present heard the black wolf's words, they glanced at the second elder of the Yao family who was lying on the ground and didn't know what to say. As the second elder of the Yao family, he would never have thought that he would be looked down upon by a wolf, right? Other than expressing sympathy for the second elder of the Yao family, they had no other thoughts. Then what should we do? We can't let it go to waste. Lin Yuan said with some difficulty. Master, I know a giant python in the forest. That guy is very tasteless and will eat anything. Why don't you let it eat this man? The giant black wolf suggested. Captain, what do you think? Lin Yuan asked for Feng De's opinion. That's fine too. Feng De frowned and laughed in his heart. The Yao family's second elder was actually despised by the wolves. He really didn't know where Lin Yuan had found this wolf. It was quite interesting. Big Black, then go quickly and come back quickly. Seeing that Feng De had agreed, Lin Yuan said to the giant black wolf. Yes. The black wolf nodded and disappeared like a black lightning. Not long after, the giant black wolf returned with a squirming gray python. The python was nearly 100 meters long and as thick as a water tank. It had a pair of light bulb-sized gray-black eyes that were looking at the people in front of it with vigilance. Chapter 12-13, Test 3, Master, I'm back. The giant black wolf said. Big Black, this is your friend. Lin Yuan said in understanding. Yes, Master can call him Big Gray. The giant black wolf grinned. Ah. Lin Yuan was a little speechless. The names of these beasts were really simple enough. They actually differentiated them by color, hee. I wonder what they're called when they're in the same color. Hello, Big Black's master. The gray python said politely. Hello, are you interested in that person? Lin Yuan pointed at the Yao family's second elder on the ground and asked. After hearing Lin Yuan's words, the gray python slowly came to the side of the Yao family's second elder. After carefully observing him, it finally came to an important conclusion. This person's body stinks. How long have you not showered? I don't know. Big Gray, right? Take a look and see if this thing is edible. Feng De said with a smile. Since the Yao family's second elder liked to play dead so much, then he couldn't be blamed. Yes, I can eat it, but I hate people who are stinky. The gray python's face was filled with dissatisfaction. There's no other way. Just make do with it. Feng De said helplessly. AI. All right. The gray python unwillingly nodded and opened its mouth, but it did not bite down. The saliva in its mouth dripped from the corner of its mouth onto the second elder's body. In the blink of an eye, the second elder was completely drenched. The gray python's breath was extremely heavy, and it emitted a strong stench. Its saliva, in particular, smelled even worse. The second elder of the Yao family, who was pretending to be unconscious, could only hold his breath, not even daring to breathe loudly. At this moment, the python's thick tail swept across his body again, causing him to lose all the breath he had held in with great difficulty, and the unpleasant smell directly entered his nose. The stench made it impossible for him to continue pretending. However, just as he was about to get up, he found that the huge gray python's bloody mouth was right at his head, and its saliva happened to drip into his mouth. Cough cough. The second elder of the Yao family coughed non-stop. He pushed the giant python's head away, flipped over, and jumped up. Then, he vomited. Little Yao Yao is finally awake, sigh. Uncle spent a lot of effort to wake you up. Feng De couldn't help but grumble, and then he said to the gray python in embarrassment, Big Gray, I'm sorry. I thought he was dead, so I wanted to give you food. Now that he's awake, I can't let you eat him. Reading on mybo.com please. It doesn't matter. If he dies again, you can just give him to me to eat. The gray python said indifferently, then obediently crawled to the side and stayed there. Little Yao Yao, did you hear that? If you die again, I'll have to feed you to this python. Feng De said with a smirk. Come. It was better to obediently eat this meat. Uncle won't allow you to waste it. Feng De said. Uncle is the best. The Yao family's second elder gritted his teeth, his heart filled with hatred for Feng De. However, he had no choice but to swallow his pride. Who asked him to pretend to be crazy? This time, he had really shot himself in the foot. Be good. Feng De personally watched as the second elder of the Yao family ate the raw meat again. Then, he took out a cup of water and passed it to him. Come, drink some water. Don't swallow it. Feng De asked with concern. The Yao family's second elder took the water, raised his head, and poured it all into his mouth. However, after he swallowed it, he realized that it was not water at all, but wine, and wine with a very high alcohol content. As soon as the wine entered his stomach, he felt as if his stomach was on fire. Furthermore, he felt like he wanted to relieve himself. What the hell was this wine for him? Wasn't she trying to take his life? He couldn't wait to find a place to relieve himself, but before he could do so, he was stopped by Feng De. Little Yao Yao, where do you want to go? Don't run around. There are many wild beasts in the forest, and they will eat you. Feng De said with a smile. I want to relieve myself. The second elder of the Yao family shouted loudly. At this time, he no longer cared if they would find out that he was pretending to be crazy. He only wanted to find a place to solve his own problem. We can't relieve ourselves here, let Big Gray take you somewhere else. Feng De gave Big Gray beside him a look, and Big Gray quickly crawled over. Then, it used its tail to wrap around the Yao family's second elder, and with a whoosh, they disappeared. When night fell, Big Gray and the Yao family's second elder still hadn't returned. Everyone present couldn't help but secretly guess that the Yao family's second elder couldn't have secretly sneaked away. However, just as they were letting their thoughts run wild, they noticed that the gray python was slowly crawling back with the second elder of the Yao family wrapped in its arms. In front of the crowd, the gray python threw the second elder to the ground with a look of disgust. The second elder's face was frighteningly pale and his body was extremely weak. He had been lying on the ground ever since he was thrown. When everyone saw this situation, their gossiping hearts were all hooked. Hee hee. The Yao family's second elder looked as if he had been ravaged by some beast. Don't let your thoughts run wild, I didn't do anything to him. He was the one who pulled for too long and was exhausted. The gray python could not help but defend itself when it saw the strange gazes of the people in front of it. Ah! Everyone didn't expect that their thoughts would be seen through by a beastie, and they were all a little embarrassed. Big Gray, where did you take him? What took you so long? Feng De asked curiously. I brought him out of the forest to relieve himself outside of Linjiang City. The gray python explained. How could it let a human relieve himself in the forest? That would be too unhygienic. Ah! You're really smart. Feng De agreed. The road outside Linjiang City was the only path the Yao family had to take. It was convenient to take the road there, and it would also give the second elder of the Yao family an unforgettable memory. Hee hee. You're flattering me, but when he was relieving himself, he was surrounded by many people. The gray python said. This is really none of my business. I didn't know that there would be so many people there today. Usually, there aren't many people walking around there. The gray python explained with a wronged expression. Chapter 12:14, Test 4, It doesn't matter. It's okay, little Yao Yao won't mind and won't blame you. You're just being kind. Feng De saw the gray python feeling guilty and quickly comforted it. Don't know, my ass. The Yao family's second elder, who was lying on the ground, cursed in his heart. At this moment, another damn gray python had appeared on his list of targets to kill. Fuck, he didn't know if this damn snake was in cahoots with Feng De and the others. Why did they have to mess with him together? He felt extremely unbalanced. In fact, he had really wronged the gray python. It was purely an accident that the gray python had taken him to the road leading to Linjiang City. At first, the gray python only wanted to take the second elder out of the forest. However, it remembered that the cities near the forest had already belonged to Big Black's master, so it naturally couldn't let the second elder relieve himself in Linjiang City. Therefore, it walked further and further away until it was far away from Linjiang City before it let the second elder down. At that time, the second elder of the Yao family couldn't hold it in any longer. He didn't even have time to see where he was and immediately took off his pants to relieve himself. As a result, while he was relieving himself, there were always people passing by on the road from time to time. Therefore, his indecent behavior was seen by people, and there were even people who knew him. Oh! After all, the second elder of the Yao family was a well-known figure on the divine mainland. Now, he had lost all his face. Therefore, he hated the giant gray python as well. Really? The gray python's eyes were filled with tears as it carefully asked. Yes, little Yao Yao, you won't blame it, right? Feng De asked as he bent down and looked at the second elder of the Yao family who was lying on the ground. Yes. The second elder of the Yao family suppressed his anger and unwillingly nodded. Little Yao Yao is so obedient. Feng De patted the head of the second elder of the Yao family and praised him. The second elder of the Yao family closed his eyes in anger, not willing to speak. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue, who had seen enough of the commotion, smiled faintly at the members of the Yao family's subsidiary family and said, "All right, since little Yao Yao has returned, you can take her away." Ah! The members of the Yao family's subsidiary families looked at each other, their eyes filled with unwillingness. What's wrong? Are you all afraid of a lunatic? Leng Ruoxue said with a look of disdain. After a round of probing, she was deeply impressed by the patience of the Yao family's second elder. However, this way, she wouldn't be able to let him return to the Yao family in peace. The best way was to let them fight each other. She would hand over the feigned madness of the Yao family's second elder to the other affiliated families. As for how they would treat him or how he would deal with them, that was not within her scope of concern. We, the members of the Yao family's affiliated families, were hesitant. In fact, they weren't afraid, but they didn't want the second elder of the Yao family to return to the Yao family. Otherwise, they would be the first ones to suffer. However, they couldn't say this too bluntly. Reading on mybo.com please. You guys what? Don't be afraid, he's just a lunatic, no one will believe his words. Leng Ruoxue consoled. You can leave the mountain now. Remember what I said, you can come to the outer part of the forest, but you are not allowed to enter the forest and these 3 mountains without my permission. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Leng Ruoxue warned again. Don't worry, Miss Leng. We know what to do. The moment Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, some forces immediately expressed their intentions to please her. After that, the other forces also followed suit. After seeing the fate of the Yao family, they didn't dare to not cooperate. After that, other than the Ning family and Qi family's teams, all the other forces left the Nightmare Forest dejectedly. The second elder of the Yao family was carried away by the people of the Yao family's subsidiary families. Young Lady Leng, aren't you afraid of bringing trouble to yourself by letting the Yao family's second elder leave like this? Qi Rui couldn't help but ask as he watched the forces leave. In his opinion, the second elder of the Yao family shouldn't have let him go at all. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble. Someone will take care of him for me. Since that's the case, there's no need for me to personally take action. Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly. Leng Ruoxue didn't think that the second elder of the Yao family would still be alive on his way back to the Yao family. So, even if she didn't kill him, those people who wanted to hit him when he was down wouldn't let him off. Since that was the case, why did she have to do something unnecessary? If the second elder of the Yao family really met with an accident on the road, then all the major forces would naturally become her accomplices in dealing with the Yao family. In this way, no one would dare to disclose what had happened here, unless they didn't want to live anymore. Because the Yao family would never let go of those who betrayed them. She believed that those major forces were not fools and would know what was the best choice for them. Ah! Qi Rui was speechless. It seemed like Leng Ruoxue had a backup plan. No wonder he wasn't worried about letting the tiger return to the mountain. Sigh. When would he be able to be as calm as Leng Ruoxue? Alright, don't think so much. The second elder of the Yao family can't possibly return to the Yao family alive, and even if the Yao family wants to avenge their dead clansmen, it'll be very difficult to find an enemy. Leng Ruoxue replied with absolute certainty. As for how the Yao family's subsidiary families would tell their master about this, that was not within her scope of consideration. Then I'm relieved. Qi Rui sighed and said helplessly. It seemed that this was the difference between people. Woo! Ha ha ha! You don't have to be so sad, let's go. Come with me to take a look at our new home. Leng Ruoxue looked at Qi Rui's depressed expression and couldn't help but laugh. Alright, he said. Qi Rui nodded. Following that, the Qi family and the Ning family followed Leng Ruoxue and the rest into the Leng family's main residence. After taking a look around, Ning Fei and Qi Rui were full of admiration for the layout of the house. They were even a little envious, because in their eyes, Leng Ruoxue and the others really knew how to enjoy life. Not only was the spiritual qi in the house surprisingly rich, but it was also warm in winter and cool in summer. The scenery was beautiful, which was absolutely refreshing. Chapter 12-15, Entering the Inner Forest. 1. Miss Leng, why do you want to build a territory in the Nightmare Forest? Qi Rui asked curiously. In his opinion, this forest was full of danger and was definitely not a good place to be a territory. This place is not bad. With mountains and water, it'll be easy to gain experience. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Ah. However, there are many poisonous bees, scorpions, and giant spiders in the forest. Qi Rui couldn't help but remind him. The poisonous insects they had encountered in the forest not long ago were still fresh in his memory. Although he didn't know where those poisonous insects suddenly appeared and then disappeared without a trace, the sense of danger in the forest had been deeply rooted in his heart. So, if it were him, he would definitely not choose this place as his territory. Otherwise, those poisonous insects would come and harass him from time to time. No one would be able to stand it. The poisonous insects in the forest will not attack people unless they are provoked. Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly and added in her heart, with the exception of certain people. Ah. Could it be that they were attacked before because someone provoked those poisonous insects? Qi Rui said with a puzzled expression. This matter was so strange that he couldn't understand it no matter how much he thought about it. Why did those poisonous insects attack so many forces but not the Qi and Ning families? It's very possible. Oh, I've arranged a place for you to stay. You can stay here for a few days before going back. Leng Ruoxue changed the topic. All right, he said. Ning Fei and Qi Rui nodded in agreement. Then, Leng Ruoxue arranged for Fengde to take them to their respective residences. However, Ning Fei stayed where he was and looked at her as if he wanted to say something. Master Ning, is there anything else you need? Leng Ruoxue pretended to be confused, but she was laughing in her heart. This Ning Fei is acting reserved too, hee. It was a weird feeling to see a grown man acting all coy in front of her. Miss Leng, I would like to meet the old ancestor. Ning Fei mustered up his courage and said. He knew that his request was a little abrupt. Not everyone could see the ancestor whenever they wanted to. Even in the main family, it was not easy for the younger generation to see the ancestor. However, he still wanted to try his luck, but he did not dare to have too much hope. Master Ning, I can understand what you're thinking, but it's not up to me whether Godfather wants to see you or not, but I can help you pass on the message. Leng Ruoxue said softly. Then I'll thank Miss Leng first. I'll take my leave first. Ning Fei turned around and left. Looking at Ning Fei's back, the evil man pulled Shui into his arms and teased, Shui, you're so bad. Letting old man Ning meet a junior of the family is just a matter of a word from you, but you just have to keep us in suspense. You're right. As long as I ask, my godfather will definitely meet Ning Fei for my sake. However, that's why I can't ask him. If my godfather really wants to meet the Ning family, I wouldn't have to say it. Leng Ruoxue explained indifferently. As the saying goes, one should not impose on others what one did not want others to do to them. Therefore, she would not use her godfather's love as some capital to show off, and she would not interfere with the Ning family's internal affairs. Hee. It's old man Ning's fortune to have you as his goddaughter. The demon said with a doting expression. Reading on Maibo's Snow.com please. Evildoer, now that the major forces' affairs have been basically resolved, let's go to the inner part of the forest when we have time. Su Mo said. Leng Ruoxue suggested. Due to the urgency of the situation, the various major factions responded to her call and moved. Hence, Fengde and the rest had only swept through the outer perimeter. As for the deeper parts of the forest, they had yet to go in. Hence, she wanted to go in and take a look personally. All right. But we'll have to wait until the Ning and Qi family leave. The demon said. Yes, well, go after they leave. Leng Ruoxue nodded. After that, the Nings and the Qi family stayed in Master Leng's house for almost 5 days. During this time, Master Ning even went to see Ning Fei. After that, Ning Fei was stunned. No one knew what Master Ning and Ning Fei talked about, but Ning Fei was more respectful to Leng Ruoxue. After sending off the people from the Ning and Qi families, Leng Ruoxue and the rest set off towards the depths of the forest. As they walked into the depths of the forest, Leng Ruoxue and the rest collected herbs from the side of the road. As there weren't many teams that dared to venture into the depths of the forest, there were unusually many herbs in the forest. Although many of them were ordinary herbs, the consumption of ordinary herbs was much greater than precious herbs when refining pills. Therefore, they would not let go of any herbs they saw. Master Ning frowned as he watched Leng Ruoxue and the rest gather herbs as they walked. He could not help but ask, Shue, if we follow this path, when can we reach the deepest part? He had never been to the deepest part of the Nightmare Forest, so he was really curious about what he would find there. Therefore, he followed them. However, according to the way these little guys were walking, it would be difficult for them to reach the depths before dark. Godfather, what's the hurry? We're not in a hurry. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. She would feel uncomfortable if she didn't pick the herbs. Could this be the so-called occupational disease? And her subordinates were infected by her, clearly also caught this occupational disease. It is. You damned old man, what's the rush? How could a fellow like you, who doesn't know how to refine tools or refine pills, understand our feelings when we see the materials? Girl, ignore him, let's slowly pick and dig. After the first elder yelled at Master Ning, he turned to Leng Ruoxue and smiled. There were not only herbs on the way, but also a lot of ordinary ores, which were also necessary for those who wanted to refine weapons. That was why he supported Leng Ruoxue and the others' actions. He even thought that as a qualified blacksmith, this was how they should be. Ha ha ha. All right. Seeing that the 2 old men were about to start a fight again, Leng Ruoxue chuckled and replied. These 2 men were just like her grandfather and the rest. They never stopped quarreling. However, the more they quarreled, the better their relationship was. You old thing, you only know how to bully me, woo. Master Ning's face was full of grievances, and his eyes were filled with tears as he pretended to be pitiful. However, his pitiful appearance was completely ignored by everyone. Chapter 12:16, Entering the Inner Forest, 2, Leng Ruoxue and the rest glanced at him. Then bent down to continue gathering the herbs on the ground. First elder and the rest were focused on digging the ores on the ground. The subordinates of Master Ning looked at their master with sympathy, and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. It seemed that the family head didn't have much status among these people. Otherwise, why would he always be bullied? If this was the Ning family, who would dare to treat the master like this? However, they only dared to think about it in their hearts. If they really felt injustice for their master and said something that they shouldn't say, the master would definitely not let them off. The clan head had a heart of being abused. After getting along for so long, they were very clear about it. In fact, it was very difficult for them to understand the thoughts of the master of the Ning family with their status. After all, no matter how high the status of the master of the Ning family was, he was just a person. He also needed family love, warmth, and care, but no one in the Ning family could give him that. To put it bluntly, the younger generation of the Ning family could not treat him as an ordinary old man. In the eyes of the Ning family, his status was unattainable and supreme. He was the ancestor of all the Ning family, so they did not dare to show any disrespect to Master Ning. This was also the main reason why Master Ning was not in a hurry to return to the Ning family, and instead chose to hang out with Leng Ruoxue and the rest. You're really too much. No one coaxed me, seeing that no one was paying attention, Master Ning continued to complain. Godfather, don't pretend to be pitiful. I'll make you something delicious tonight. Leng Ruoxue sighed and said helplessly. Yes, yes. Master Ning nodded happily, then looked at the first elder provocatively and said proudly, Damn old man, it's my goddaughter who cares about me. Humph. You should learn. Your goddaughter is my god-granddaughter, so you're considered my junior. What's there to be proud of? The grand elder retorted with disdain. Old man, don't lie to me. Little Shui is not your god-granddaughter. Besides, I'm not afraid even if it's me. Let's talk about our own matters. In short, don't even think about taking advantage of me. Seeing that someone was quarreling with him, Master Ning's spirit rose again. Old thing, you can be proud. You'll be crying sooner or later. The great elder rolled his eyes at Master Ning, and then lowered his head to dig the ore again. Seeing that no one was paying attention to him again, Master Ning began to feel bored. Seeing Master Ning like this, his subordinates all felt helpless, but they couldn't do anything. After all, they were not the great elder and didn't have the guts to argue with Master Ning. Leng Ruoxue and the rest walked as they gathered. By the time they entered the depths of the forest, it was already evening. They found a clean and spacious place and Leng Ruoxue took out the house that first elder had given her. She placed it on the ground and the group entered the house. Hee hee. Old thing, this house you made is really not bad. We've already agreed on this. I'll provide the materials, and you'll give me the essence qi to help me refine one. Master Ning, who was looking around in the courtyard, reminded him. You can't be left out. The first elder said helplessly. It was all his fault. Why did he have to give the girl this house in front of this old thing? Now, he had been targeted by this damn thing. Reading on Maibo's Snow.com please. Then when will you make it for me? The master of the Ning family asked anxiously. What's the hurry? Have you prepared the materials? The great elder rolled his eyes at Master Ning. I've already sent someone to prepare it. It won't be long before the materials are sent to me. Master Ning said quickly. Then we'll talk when you bring the materials. The head elder said unhappily. As long as he thought of the origin breath he was going to give out, his heart would ache a little. Woo! Origin breath was extremely hard to come by. Yes, yes. Master Ning nodded. From the corner of his eye, he saw Leng Ruoxue and the others preparing dinner at the other side of the courtyard. He could not help but ask curiously, Girl, what are we having for dinner? You'll know when the time comes. Leng Ruoxue kept them in suspense. Actually, she didn't know what they wanted to eat for dinner, so she prepared everything for everyone to choose. It was like a buffet. Oh. Master Ning looked at Leng Ruoxue, feeling wronged. He complained in his heart, Wah, bad girl. She knew that I wanted to know, but she still kept me in suspense. Hee hee. Godfather, great elder, it's time to eat. Leng Ruoxue chuckled as she spoke to the two of them. Arg! So fast. Master Ning looked at the table in confusion. The table was empty, and there was nothing there. What were they supposed to eat? Moreover, the fish in the hands of Feng De and the others didn't seem to be cooked. He couldn't be thinking of letting them eat raw fish, right? You two find a place to sit first, the food will be here soon. Just as Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, Feng De and the rest served the fish that they had packed. Girl, do you really want us to eat raw fish? I'm not the second elder of the Yao family, I don't eat raw food. Master Ning said with a face full of fear. As long as he thought of how the second elder of the Yao family had eaten so much raw meat, his scalp would go numb. These bad guys' ability to trick people was really too much to catch up to. Master Ning, don't be afraid. This fish is different from the raw meat that the second elder of the Yao family eats. It's called raw fish slices and very delicious. If it weren't for you two, we wouldn't have been willing to make it for others to eat. Feng De said with a smile, and his words made the two old men smile. Hee hee. Kid, you really know how to talk. The great elder complimented him with a smile. Shwa. Your subordinates are all eloquent, unlike my stupid subordinates. It's like a mouse seeing a cat when it sees me, it's very boring. Master Ning also said with envy. However, his subordinates who were not far away heard Master's evaluation of them felt wronged in their hearts. Although they didn't dare to be rude to Master, they weren't at the point of a mouse seeing a cat. Godfather, let's eat. Leng Ruoxua sneaked a glance at the Ning family's subordinates, who had hidden bitterness in their eyes. She was so embarrassed that she didn't know what to say, so she could only change the topic. All right, he said. Master Ning and the great elder nodded, and the dishes were served one by one. The two looked at the rich variety of dishes, and without waiting for the others to serve, they began to eat first, praising as they ate. Chapter 12-17, Entering the Inner Forest, 3, Leng Ruoxua looked at the two of them wolfing down the food and was speechless. It was just a meal. Was there a need to act as if he hadn't eaten in 800 years? If people who didn't know saw them like this, wouldn't they think that he had abused them? She didn't remember not having them eat or drink. How could it be like this? In fact, it wasn't just her. Even Master Ning's subordinates felt a little embarrassed when they saw their master like this. After all, what good things didn't the Ning family have? Even the head of the family had never been so gluttonous as he was here, although they had to admit that the food made by others was indeed more delicious than their own. Why aren't you guys eating? After eating for a while, Master Ning raised his head and found that everyone was looking at them. He couldn't help but ask in confusion. He really didn't know what these people were thinking when they didn't eat such delicious food. He couldn't help sighing in his heart. At this time, he would never have thought that everyone was actually frightened by the wind and cloud remnants when he and the great elder ate. You guys have already finished it, what else can we eat? Lu Feng couldn't bear it anymore and roared. These two old things were really too much. They actually ate almost all the food on the table. What interest did they have when they saw the remaining leftovers? Ah. I'm sorry. We thought you guys were eating too. Master Ning and the great elder looked at the remaining dishes on the table and pretended to be embarrassed. However, they didn't stop stuffing food into their mouths. Seeing them like this, everyone was speechless. It doesn't matter, let's get more. Leng Ruoxua tried to smooth things over. She didn't want these people to fight over a meal. Looking at Lu Feng's angry face, she didn't doubt this possibility at all. Good, good. Quickly make some more, I'm not full yet. Master Ning quickly agreed upon hearing Leng Ruoxua's words. You're not full yet? Are you a pig? Hearing Master Ning's shameless words, Lu Feng couldn't help but curse. Brat, you dare to call me a pig? Do you really think that I won't dare to beat you up? Master Ning said angrily. Old man Ning, he even dared to scold me, what are you? The first elder lifted his eyelids and said calmly. That's because you didn't discipline him well, humph. There's no one in the Ning family who dares to scold me. Master Ning shouted with a proud face. Yup. None of your descendants would dare to scold you to your face. They only do it behind your back. The first elder said. You old thing, do you have to go against me? Master Ning's eyes were wide open as he shouted. AI. It can't be helped, it's my hobby. The first elder sighed as he helplessly said. Leng Ruoxua was speechless when she saw the two old men arguing over a meal. She gave Fengde and the rest a look and they left the place quietly, leaving the place to these two old men who did not respect them. Reading on Meibo.com please. Master Ning and the first elder saw Leng Ruoxua and the others leave from the corner of their eyes. They could not help but look at each other and smile. Then, they continued eating. Little fox, why did you leave that place for them? You don't understand those two old things. They clearly quarreled on purpose. Now that their goal has been achieved, I'm afraid they're eating happily. Lu Feng grumbled. After knowing them for so many years, he understood the nature of those two old men too well. In fact, he was right. Master Ning and the Great Elder were unscrupulous in order to occupy the remaining food. Although they were leftovers in the eyes of Lu Feng and the others, the two old men would not let them go. It doesn't matter. If they like it, then let them eat. Let's go and eat something more delicious. Leng Ruoxua laughed evilly. How could she not guess what the two old men were thinking? The reason why she had brought everyone away so quickly was to let the two of them know that they would regret it so much that their intestines would turn green. There's something even more delicious. Lu Feng's eyes widened as he asked in disbelief. Of course, hee. You guys are in for a treat. Feng De kept him in suspense. What is it? Mo Yen also asked curiously. You'll know in a while. Leng Ruoxua brought them to the dining room. Then, she took out a few big fish that were still alive and kicking from her bracelet and placed them on the table. What fish is this? She's pretty. Lu Feng looked at the huge fish in front of him and asked curiously. This is called silver snowfish. It can only be found on the Haotian continent. Leng Ruoxua explained. Oh. Lu Feng nodded his head, but he couldn't help but think to himself, isn't it just a few fish? How good could it be? However, when he ate the silver snowfish, he realized that he had lived in vain for so many years. He didn't know that the fish meat would be so fresh and delicious. He was so excited that he almost bit off his tongue. After Leng Ruoxua and the rest finished their dinner, Master Ning and the First Elder came looking for them. However, when they saw the strange looks from the crowd, the two old men were puzzled. What was going on? Lu Feng's face was actually filled with sympathy. Did they miss something? Master Ning and the Great Elder secretly guessed. You little brat, what's with that look? After a long while, Master Ning finally couldn't help but ask. Nothing. I just wanted to ask if the food was good. Lu Feng said with a light smile. Of course it's delicious, sigh. I'm sorry. We couldn't control it, so we didn't leave any for you. Master Ning said apologetically. It's fine. Lu Feng said nonchalantly, hee. If they hadn't eaten all the vegetables, he probably wouldn't have been able to eat such delicious fish. He heard from Feng De that the little fox didn't allow them to eat that kind of fish. Ah. You brat, you've changed. I thought you'd continue to scold me. Master Ning said with a smile, as if he had just met Lu Feng today. I don't scold people easily. Lu Feng said indifferently. You little brat. What do you mean by that? What did he mean by not scolding people easily? Am I not a human? The more Master Ning heard these words, the more wrong they seemed, and he couldn't help but ask. It doesn't mean anything. I'm so full, I'm going to sleep. Lu Feng stretched lazily, then stood up and left the dining room. We're going to sleep too. Leng Ruoxua stood up and said. In the blink of an eye, only the Great Elder and Master Ning were left in the dining room. Ah. Where are we going? Master Ning asked dumbly, thinking in his heart, these guys left too quickly. Could it be that there was something shameful going on? Of course I'm going to sleep. It's getting late. I still have to continue mining tomorrow. After the Great Elder finished speaking, he left Master Ning behind and left alone. Mining. You only know how to mine. Master Ning complained to himself. As soon as he heard about mining, he knew that tomorrow's speed would not be fast. Just as he had expected, after they set off the next day, Leng Ruoxua and the rest placed all their attention on picking herbs again. The Great Elder naturally had his eyes on his oars. Only Master Ning had nothing to do, and could only stare at his unlikable subordinate. He wanted to help pick herbs, but little Shui said that he only picked grass and asked him to help the Great Elder dig the ore. He went to help the Great Elder and the others dig the ore, but that damned old man actually said that he was clumsy and in the way. He was really angry. Leng Ruoxue could not help but find it funny when she saw Master Ning glaring at them from the side. Why was this old man acting like a child? He was even throwing a tantrum. Godfather, we're almost done digging. We can continue. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Then let's go. Master Ning was a little impatient. It had been 2 days, and they had only walked so little. Sigh. When would they be able to enter the deepest part of the forest? Let's go. Leng Ruoxue nodded and the group continued on their journey. After walking in the forest for 5 days, Leng Ruoxue and the rest finally arrived at the deepest part of the forest. The depths of the forest were usually called the inner regions, and Leng Ruoxue and the others were heading to the deepest part of the inner regions. Leng Ruoxue and the rest were amazed as they looked at the dense giant tree in front of them. As expected of a tree from the immortal realm, it could actually grow to such a huge size. It would probably take dozens of people to surround it. Go. Let's quickly go in and take a look. Master Ning urged. After walking for 5 days, they had finally arrived. He was looking forward to it. Go in. Leng Ruoxue looked at Master Ning's anxious face with amusement as she said to the crowd. Everyone, be careful and stay safe. Leng Ruoxue reminded. The crowd nodded and walked in. In the deepest part of the inner regions, other than being covered by countless giant trees, there were also many high-level beasts. The places that Leng Ruoxue and the rest passed by were filled with countless herbs and ores. The crowd was envious. Even Master Ning, who was not interested in herbs and ores, was shocked. However, when he thought about how these people were going to start picking herbs and mining, he felt depressed again. Chapter 12:18, Half-Orc, 1. Before Master Ning could put his thoughts to rest, he saw Leng Ruoxue and the rest bending down and squatting on the ground to collect the herbs. The Great Elder took out his small shovel and started to dig around for ores. Seeing this scene, Master Ning was completely helpless. Sob, this group of people has an occupational disease. Although he really wanted to help, it was a pity that these people obviously didn't think much of him. Thinking of this, he felt even more depressed and simply found a corner to sit down. By the time Leng Ruoxue and the rest were done collecting the herbs and ores before them, it was almost night time again. They could not help but laugh out loud when they saw Master Ning sitting in a corner like a pitiful little boy with a bitter expression on his face. Ha ha ha. You old thing, why do you have such a dead look? The first elder couldn't take it anymore. Who was this damn old man acting pitiful for? He did not have any sympathy. Humph. Master Ning rolled his eyes at First Elder and didn't say anything. He even turned his head to the other side. Yo! You're still throwing a tantrum. Hee hee. It's so funny. The Great Elder teased. He had quite a good time mining today, so he decided to just tease this old man. I can't be bothered with you. Master Ning said with a look of disdain. Godfather, what's wrong with you? Leng Ruoxue chuckled, knowing full well what she meant. All of you, go pick your herbs and dig your mines. Don't bother with me. Master Ning said angrily. I really don't want to talk to you. AI. All right then. Since this is Godfather's request, we can only satisfy you. Leng Ruoxue's face was filled with helplessness, as if she was very unwilling. However, she could not help but snicker in her heart. When the others saw this, they secretly turned their heads and laughed. When Master Ning heard Leng Ruoxue's words and saw that everyone had their backs turned to them and were laughing, he felt even more depressed. He was just saying it casually and wanted to be coaxed. Should he really take it seriously? He wanted to cry but had no tears. Yup. Old man, well, satisfy your request now. Are you satisfied? The first elder said with an evil smile. I'm satisfied. I'm very satisfied. Master Ning said through gritted teeth, wishing he could eat this old thing's flesh and drink his blood. Hee hee. Let's stay here for the night. Leng Ruoxue laughed in her heart. She looked at the sky and decided to set up camp here. Yes. Everyone nodded. Then, Len Ruoshua took out another house and everyone walked in together. This time, Master Ning walked behind everyone, as if he had been dealt a heavy blow. Reading on Maibo's Snow Velcom please. After dinner, Len Ruoshua and the rest went back to their own rooms. No one bothered with Master Ning. Seeing that they were really ignoring him, Master Ning's mood became low. His subordinates who were watching from the side felt extremely sympathetic to their master. This was all the master's own doing. The next morning, when Len Ruoshua and the rest left the room, they did not see Master Ning and his subordinates. Seeing this, they could not help but let their thoughts run wild. Where did Godfather go? You won't really get angry and leave, right? Len Ruoshua asked curiously. In her impression, her godfather shouldn't be such a petty person. Don't worry. Old man Ning probably went into the forest. That old thing thinks we're too slow and can't wait any longer. The great elder said with a look of understanding. He had known that old man for a long time. He knew what that guy wanted to do as soon as he raised his butt. Therefore, he did not believe that the old man of the Ning family would just leave. Damn old man, you're talking bad about me again. As soon as the great elder finished speaking, Master Ning's voice reached everyone's ears. The great elder gave Len Ruoshua a look, as if to say, look. I was right. I didn't say anything bad about you, don't accuse me. The first elder said with a smile. I heard everything, and you still want to deny it. Master Ning's eyes were wide open as he said angrily. Godfather. Where did you go so early in the morning? Len Ruoshua asked curiously. I'm going hunting, look. I have a lot of prey. Master Ning gestured for his subordinates to bring the prey over and showed it to Len Ruoshua and the others. I say, you old thing, you didn't beat up all the small animals in this forest, did you? Looking at the frightening amount of prey in the hands of the Ning family, the great elder couldn't help but be speechless. Of course not. Not only that, I even picked up a little fellow. After Master Ning finished speaking, he motioned for his subordinate to hand over a fluffy white beast. The little beast looked like a puppy. It was only the size of a palm and seemed to have just been born. It looked so weak that it couldn't even stand the wind. A pair of big, black eyes were looking at everyone timidly. That cute appearance instantly captured everyone's hearts. Wow! This little thing is so cute. Is it a puppy? Lu Tao's eyes were shining as she looked at the little white beast in Master Ning's arms. I'm not a dog. Hearing Lu Tao's words, the little white beast in Master Ning's arms complained in a low voice. Ah. Then what are you? Green Peach asked curiously. I am the great soul-gnawing beast. The little white beast said proudly. Pfft. A little kid like you, and you call yourself a great soul-gnawing beast? What a joke. Little kid, you're not a good kid when you lie. Lu Tao reminded him with a smile. You dare to look down on the great soul-gnawing beast, You will regret this. The little white beast pouted its little mouth, and its fluffy cute face was full of dissatisfaction. Why are there soul-gnawing beasts here? Where did you kidnap this old thing from? The great elder asked in surprise. Soul-gnawing beasts were good stuff. Just from its name, one could tell that this beast should be extremely powerful and impossible to guard against. However, there would definitely not be more than 10 beasts with such heaven-defying talent in the divine realm. He did not expect that he would actually encounter one here. It really made people envious, jealous, and hateful. AI. How could he have such good luck? This was really infuriating. What do you mean kidnapped? Do you know how to speak? This little beastie is lost and wants to find its mother, so I brought it back. Master Ning quickly explained. Another one looking for mommy? The great elder said with a strange expression. As far as he knew, it was not easy for soul-gnawing beasts to give birth, and they were rare in number. Therefore, every baby soul-gnawing beast would be guarded very strictly by its parents. A lost little soul-gnawing beast like this was simply too inconceivable. Could it be that its parents had met with an accident? He couldn't help but let his thoughts run wild. Chapter 12:19, Half-Orc, 2, Pft. Fengde couldn't help but laugh when he heard the Great Elder's words. He knew that the Great Elder must have thought of the second elder of the Yao family. However, the second elder of the Yao family was different from this little beastie. What's so funny? Of course, children need to find their mothers. Master Ning rolled his eyes at the crowd. Yup. Are you his nanny now? The first elder laughed and teased. Of course I don't count, this is what I want to give to Shui. Master Ning's eyes were spitting fire as he roared. After he finished speaking, he threw the little beast in his arms to Leng Ruoxue and said to the little beast, "Little guy, you will follow her from now on. She will dote on you." Really? The little beastie's face was filled with disbelief. Ever since it opened its eyes, it had never seen its parents. The other beastie in the forest hated it, ostracized it, and always wanted to bully it. If it wasn't for its terrifying talent, it would have died long ago. Therefore, it found it hard to believe that someone would be willing to take it in. It's true. Leng Ruoxue replied helplessly. It was hard for her to reject such a young man. When the little beastie heard Leng Ruoxue's words, its dark and clear eyes flickered with tears. Its little nose sniffled, and it was so touched that it was about to cry. Little guy, since your mother is missing, you can stay with us for the time being. Leng Ruoxue looked at little beastie's pitiful state and coaxed it with heartache. Yes. The little beastie nodded its little head, and a little smile appeared on its little face. After everyone had their breakfast, they continued on their way. However, with the presence of the soul-gnawing beast, a small native, Leng Ruoxue and the rest had taken fewer detours in the forest. Furthermore, the little beast knew where the best herbs and ores were. Leng Ruoxue and the others had returned with a full load after spending a few days in the deepest part of the forest. However, Master Ning did not look too happy because he realized that he had made a mistake. He had given the little beast to little Shui, but it seemed to have fulfilled their wishes. They had done nothing else other than picking herbs and mining for the past few days. When he thought of this, he felt depressed. Godfather, don't be depressed. Tomorrow, let Xiao Xiao take us to the most dangerous place here. Leng Ruoxue looked at Master Ning's bitter expression and said helplessly. Xiao Xiao was the name she had given to the soul-gnawing beast because even if it was an adult, it would not be much bigger than it was now. Girl, ignore him. He's just bored. He'll get better if no one cares about him. First Elder said in understanding. TSK, don't think that he didn't know what this old thing was thinking. Didn't he just feel that he had been given the cold shoulder these days? You're the one who's bored to death, old man. Master Ning shouted angrily. Who said that? I'm so busy. The first elder said with a smile. Reading on mybo.snow.com please. Look at how smug you are. Master Ning was very angry. He couldn't bear to see this old thing's smug look. What should he do? Alright, stop quarreling. Let's get ready to eat. Leng Ruoxue laughed helplessly. These two old foodies would only quieten down when they heard that it was time to eat. However, they would also quarrel as they ate. Eat. I want to eat. Before Master Ning and First Elder could say anything, Xiao Xiao, who was lying on Leng Ruoxue's shoulder, rushed to say. She even looked at Leng Ruoxue with a drooling face, almost drooling. AI. Another little glutton. Leng Ruoxue sighed helplessly. This little thing might look small, but its appetite was surprisingly big. As long as it saw food, it would obediently do whatever it was told to do. With regards to this, she was extremely speechless. It was fortunate that this little fellow was with them now. Otherwise, if it had fallen into someone else's hands, wouldn't it be in trouble? Why do you only know how to eat? Master Ning said unhappily. This little guy was now everyone's new pet, and it always fought with him for food, so he now regretted bringing it back. Woo! If he had known, he would have left it outside and let it die on its own. He couldn't help but think with a bad heart. I'm hungry. I've never had a full meal since I was born. Xiao Xiao said with tears in her eyes. Her pitiful appearance immediately caused everyone to feel sorry for her. It doesn't matter. Xiao Xiao, if you like it, just eat it. We can afford it. Green Peach was the first to console him. Yup. That's right. It doesn't matter how much Xiao Xiao wants to eat. There are so many of us here, we can't afford to feed a little baby like you. Suizhu also said. You guys just spoil it. Humph. Master Ning was furious when he saw everyone comforting that evil, cunning little thing. However, he would not admit that he was jealous of that little fellow. It's still small. Children should be in pain. Lu Tao could not help but ask. Humph. Master Ning was so angry that he stopped talking. Alright, let's go and prepare the meal. Leng Ruoxua looked at Master Ning, who was throwing a childish tantrum, and chuckled. After dinner, Leng Ruoxua asked Xiao Xiao about the forest. Xiao Xiao, how many places here are dangerous for you? Leng Ruoxua asked curiously. The day this little fellow came, it had told her that there were a few places here that were very dangerous and it did not dare to go. Thus, it had brought them to places that it thought were very safe. There are 3. Xiao Xiao frowned as she thought. What kind of place is it? Tell us. The great elder urged impatiently. I don't know. I've never been there before, but my gut tells me that it's very dangerous, so I always go around it. Xiao Xiao said, a little embarrassed. Ah. Everyone was speechless. This little guy had never been there before. Beasts are born with an innate ability to sense danger. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to grow up safely. Since Xiao Xiao doesn't know the situation there, let's go and see for ourselves tomorrow. Leng Ruoxua chuckled. Many beasts did not have their parents by their side to protect them when they were born. Hence, this required them to have some special instincts. Otherwise, they would have long become food for other beasts. Yes. Everyone nodded and went to rest. The next day, they followed Xiaoxiao's guidance and arrived at one of the dangerous places that Xiao Xiao had mentioned. Chapter 12:20, Half-Orc, 3, that place was located in the north of the deepest part of the forest. The trees outside were dense, and the road was blocked. They spent a lot of effort and finally cleared a path that could only be used by one person at a time. After everyone went in, they discovered that this was actually a valley. The air in the valley was fresh and the scenery was pleasant. No matter how they looked at it, it didn't look like the dangerous place that Xiao Xiao had said. Xiao Xiao, are you sure it's dangerous here? He asked. Feng Die's face was full of question marks. This was also what the others were thinking. No one could imagine how dangerous a place with such beautiful scenery could be. Yes, yes. Xiao Xiao nodded vigorously. But I really can't see how dangerous this place is. Feng De was very puzzled. Want you know once we go in and take a look? Let's go. Master Ning's face was full of anxiety. As soon as he finished speaking, he strode forward. Let's go. Leng Ruoxua looked at her godfather's impatient look and said helplessly. Then, the crowd followed Master Ning and walked forward. After walking around for half a day, they discovered nothing other than a few scattered beasts. Everyone found a small stream and started a fire on the shore to make something to eat. After dividing the work, the food was quickly prepared. However, they had just eaten a few mouthfuls when they found that the stream water seemed to be boiling. Seeing this situation, everyone immediately raised their vigilance. Be careful, everyone. Leng Ruoxua warned. Her beautiful eyes stared unblinkingly at the surface of the water. She did not know what was inside, but she hoped that it would not take the initiative to provoke them. Otherwise, she would not let it off. Miss, what is that thing? He actually caused such a huge commotion. Lu Tao couldn't help but click her tongue. This stream didn't look very big, and the water wasn't deep, so how could there suddenly be so much water? This was really too strange. Don't worry, it'll come out. Well, no, in a while. Len Ruoxue consoled him. Actually, she also wanted to know what was in the stream. Just now, Qing Ju had sent her a voice transmission saying that there was a huge creature in the stream. However, he kept her in suspense and did not tell her what it was. This had also aroused her curiosity. However, Qing Ju had said that the thing was not bad. If she could subdue it, it would be a great help in the future. Hence, she was not too worried about the danger of the unknown thing. Just as Len Ruoxue's voice fell, a head popped out from the water and stared at them warily. Ah! Everyone was stunned. Why was it a person? The head above the water was a beautiful face with a pair of clear blue eyes. They were so transparent that they could almost be seen. However, the person's face was very vigilant, as if he was very dissatisfied with them. It was obvious that it was a man, a beautiful man with the strength of a divine emperor. Reading on mybo.com, please. Who are you? Why are you trespassing on my territory? The man said unhappily. Not only that, but she had also disturbed his rest and used such an alluring smell to seduce him. This was preposterous and too much. Sob. He hadn't eaten for a long time. He really wanted to eat. Ah. We didn't know this was your territory, we just wanted to come in and take a look. Feng Die's forehead was full of black lines. He thought to himself, why does this man change his face faster than turning a page in a book? He was very unhappy just now, but in the blink of an eye, he's acting cute again. However, it's undeniable that such a pretty boy's appearance will definitely make all women's maternal love overflow. Oh. This probably didn't include the three beside him. Wrong, it was two. Because Cueju was already staring at him with a love-struck look. Sigh. It was really embarrassing. Many of them were not any worse than this pretty boy. Wah! Is this the legendary Little Bottom? Quiza's face was full of surprise. Little Bottom. When everyone present heard these two words, large beads of sweat kept dripping down from their foreheads. They couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. Cueju had learned her lesson. She had actually learned from others and liked the bottom. How do you know him, little beastie? The man asked, confused. He thought that these people would treat him as a human. He didn't expect them to be able to tell that he wasn't a pure human at a glance. His eyes were really sharp. The man could not help but think to himself. However, he did not know that the little bottom that Cueju was talking about was not the same one he knew. Ah! Hearing the man's question, everyone was speechless. They didn't know what to say. How could there be such a simple beastie? No wonder Cueju called him Little Show, he really looked like it. You look like him. Cueju said with a smile, her face full of infatuation. I don't care how you found out my identity. You trespassed on my territory and must compensate me. Otherwise, I won't let you off. The man said in a shocking manner. His words had also struck Len Ruoxue and the rest like lightning. This was because his words were all too familiar, especially the word compensation. It made them feel even closer to him. Hee. It seemed like they were kindred spirits. Things would be much easier this way. How do you want us to compensate you? Len Ruoxue said with a faint smile. Didn't Green Vessel say that he wanted to subdue him? Initially, she wasn't very interested in this little thing. However, after hearing that he wanted compensation, she became interested. Hee. This little fellow was clearly one of them. Look at the tone of his voice, it's so similar to theirs. Give me your food. The man said after some thought. He had not eaten for a long time and had almost forgotten the taste of food. Therefore, the first thing he thought of was to ask for food. Just food. Leng Ruoxue asked in exasperation. She was really a little thing who had never seen the world. How could he only ask for food? One had to know that this was such a good opportunity. She actually didn't want to take advantage of the situation. As for whether she would give it to him or not, that was her problem. Yes. The man nodded. What he wanted the most now was human food. After all, he had once been a human. All right, the food is here. Come up and get it yourself. Leng Ruoxue pointed at the food in front of them and tried to tempt them. The man hesitated and looked at the food not far away. In the end, he couldn't resist the temptation of the food and climbed out of the water. The reason he said he climbed was because he had a fish tail. The tail was light blue and it glowed with a faint halo. It was unusually beautiful. When Leng Ruoxue and the rest saw his tail, they were stunned and did not come back to their senses for a long time. Ugh! I've never heard of mermaids in this world. Leng Ruoxue was flabbergasted. However, that tail was extremely beautiful. When matched with that man's beautiful face, it was a natural work of art. Sister, he's not the mermaid you're thinking of. At this moment, Qing Ju transmitted his voice again. Oh. Then what was he? Fish-type beastie? Leng Ruoxue transmitted her voice over curiously. Sister, how should I put this? He should be considered half human, half fish. Some of his ancestors must have combined with beasts. In his generation, the bloodline of beasts is obviously very weak, and he's showing signs of atavism. However, it's obvious that he's not welcomed by his own family, otherwise, he wouldn't be staying here alone. Qing Ju explained with an understanding look. In the eyes of pure humans, the offspring of humans and beasts were not pure and were despised by others. In fact, in his opinion, it was clearly an excuse for humans to be jealous. This was because the offspring of humans and beasts would combine the common advantages of humans and beasts, and their qualifications were not something that pure humans could compare with. Therefore, once some humans found this kind of half-human, half-beast, they would almost not hesitate to kill it, not allowing it to live in the world at all. This half-human, half-beast must be the reason why it was able to become a divine emperor. Oh. After hearing Qing Ju's explanation, Leng Ruoxue finally understood. However, she was quite interested in this mermaid. She just did not know if this little fellow was easy to trick. As for the man who had already climbed up to the shore, after seeing their expressions, he instinctively wanted to retreat back into the water because he really didn't want to see other people's strange gazes anymore. It had been so long, but he still couldn't forget the pain he had once suffered. Wait, don't go. The food is here. You don't want it anymore? Leng Ruoxue hurriedly shouted when she saw that her prey was about to escape. The man only said the word, and did not continue. However, that pair of light blue beautiful eyes flickered with tears, and he looked very aggrieved. Here you go. Take it and eat it. Sueju saw that the man was a little shy, so she picked up the food in front of her and ran to the man. She stuffed everything into his hands and then ran back to the crowd with a blush. The man looked at the food in his hand and whispered in embarrassment, "Thank you," he said. "Come over and eat with us." Leng Ruoxue called out. I can." The man asked carefully. He didn't forget the reaction of these people when they saw his tail. "Of course you can." Leng Ruoxue said with a smile, and the others hurriedly nodded their heads. However, Xiao Xiao, who was lying on Leng Ruoxue's shoulder, didn't seem to like him. "Thank you. Ziyu." The man introduced himself, then found a seat beside Leng Ruoxue and the rest. "I'm Leng Ruoxue, and these are my family and subordinates. We'll be staying here for a few days, so you can slowly get to know them." Leng Ruoxue laughed. "Yes." Ziyu nodded, then picked up the food in her hand and began to eat very elegantly. "Ziyu, you're a human, right?" Leng Ruoxue sized up Ziyu for a while before she spoke with certainty. "I used to be. However, my bloodline has returned to its ancestor, so I'm no longer a human." I'm a small beast. Ziyu said with some sadness. If not for this, he would not have stayed here all alone. There's nothing bad about little beastie. There is no distinction between noble and lowly in life, the key is what you think. Len Ruoxue said indifferently. I know, but, people like me, not only will humans hate me, even beasts don't like me. The soul-gnawing beast on your shoulder is the same. If it wasn't for the fact that it's still underage, it would definitely want to eat me. Ziyu said with a bitter smile. This was the sorrow of the half-orcs. Their status in the divine realm was not recognized by any human or beast. Therefore, almost all half-orcs could not live long. If they wanted to live long, they had to find a place where they would not be discovered by others, such as him. Chapter 12:21, The Fleeing Rhinoceros. 1. Yes, I don't like him. Xiao Xiao nodded its little head and said very seriously. It was a pity that it was too small now and was no match for this half-orc. Otherwise, this half-orc would be a great supplement for beasts. If I can eat him, I might be able to become an adult directly, it couldn't help but secretly think. However, it was also very clear that this beautiful sister would not allow it to treat this half-orc as food, so it could only covet it in its heart. Is it your instinct to dislike him? Len Ruoxue asked curiously. And, that's right. Us pure-blooded beasts do not like things that have human blood in them. Thus, he is also an unwelcome existence in the beast world. If it were not for his strength, he would have been eaten by other beasts long ago. I think that's also the reason why he's hiding here and not daring to stay in the divine world. Xiao Xiao said. Little thing, what do you know? Mixed bloods are very precious, so you can't have any ideas about him. Otherwise, Len Ruoxue did not finish her sentence. However, she believed that with this little fellow's intelligence, he would understand what she meant. Although this little fellow had just been born, he was a very smart little fox. Yes, yes. No matter how much I hate him, I don't dare to have any ideas about him. Sister, you have to believe me. We soul-gnawing beasts are the most trustworthy. Xiao Xiao quickly raised its paws and promised. Its cute little appearance made it seem as if it was a sin if others did not believe it. Xiao Xiao, of course we believe you. So, don't let us down. Feng De also warned. After being with this little thing for a few days, they knew its nature very well. Therefore, they had to make things clear. Otherwise, if this little thing attacked the half-orc one day when they were not paying attention, who would they go to get him back? Oh! Who asked this little guy to be so gluttonous? I can guarantee it with my soul-gnawing beast's personality. Xiao Xiao raised its little paws and said with a wronged expression. Woo, why didn't anyone believe it? It was an honest and good child, really. Well, believe you for now. Stop pretending to be pitiful. Master Ning said with an evil smile. Hee hee. With this beautiful half-orc, this little thing might not be the most favored one. Therefore, he was in a very good mood. As long as he thought about how this little thing had been constantly fighting with him for his favor these past few days, his heart would itch with hatred. He wanted to strangle this little fellow to death. I'm not pretending to be pitiful. Xiao Xiao pouted and explained in a low voice. It'd be a wonder if there wasn't tea. Hurry up and eat. If you don't eat, you'll be hungry later. Master Ning reminded. Arg! I want to eat them, these are all mine. When Xiao Xiao heard this, it immediately jumped off Len Ruoxue's shoulder and used its tiny claws to gather all the food in front of it. It looked like it was protecting its food and kept using its claws to stuff food into its mouth. Its cheeks were bulging from the food. Seeing this, everyone could not help but laugh. Xiao Xiao, eat slowly. No one's snatching it from you. Len Ruoxue was a little speechless. Why did this little thing seem to lose its life the moment it saw food? Sigh. How long had it been hungry for? Yes, yes. Xiao Xiao nodded her head, but she had no intention of stopping stuffing food into her mouth. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue and the others were truly helpless. However, they would not be calculative with a little baby, much less snatch its food. Looking at Xiao Xiao wolfing down the food, and then looking at Ziye's elegant manner as she ate, everyone suddenly felt that they were both beasts, but why was there such a big difference? Reading on mybo.com please. After the meal, Leng Ruoxue decided to set up camp by the small stream Ziyu was in. Who asked her to have the thought of abducting this merman? After taking out the house and fixing it on the empty ground, everyone entered. However, Leng Ruoxue saw that Ziyu had not moved and could not help but ask curiously, "Why don't you go in? Do you want to go back into the water?" Can I go in?" Ziyu asked expectantly. He had never thought that Leng Ruoxue would have such a divine weapon in her possession. He was once a human, so he naturally knew that it was not easy to refine a divine weapon that could accommodate a person. However, at this moment, he only thought that Leng Ruoxue was from a large family clan and had come out to train. "Of course you can, come in quickly." Leng Ruoxue chuckled. "Yes, thank you," Ziyu said gratefully. He had been away from human society for too long, so his desire for these things was unimaginable to others. "Ziyu, you don't have to be too polite with us. Let's go. I'll ask Fengde to arrange a room for you." Leng Ruoxue laughed. "All right," he said. Ziyu nodded, then followed Leng Ruoxue and the demon into the house. After instructing Fengde to arrange a room for Ziyu, Leng Ruoxue pulled the evil demon back to her room. The moment they entered the room, the evil demon immediately pulled Leng Ruoxue into his arms and said with a dissatisfied expression, "I'm jealous." "Ah. Why are you getting jealous again?" Leng Ruoxue was a little speechless as she tried to recall. She didn't seem to have done anything that she shouldn't have. "You're too focused on that Ziyu, so I'm jealous," the demon said in jealousy. "I didn't, Don't wrong me." Leng Ruoxue sighed softly and said helplessly. "You still say you don't have it? You even asked Fengde to arrange a room for him personally, He's just a fish, it's enough for him to live in the water, why does he need to live in a room? It's best if the fish doesn't leave the water," the demon said a little unreasonably. "Ha ha ha. To be honest, I asked Fengde to arrange a room for him because I wanted to make him my subordinate. As for the water, are you suggesting that I should get him a water room?" Leng Ruoxue purposely twisted the demon's words as she laughed evilly. "Don't even think about it." The demon growled in a low voice and hugged Leng Ruoxue even tighter. "Silly girl." Leng Ruoxue touched the demon's head and came to this important conclusion. "However, that little fish's aptitude is not bad. Moreover, the beast that inherited the beast bloodline was once very powerful. It's a pity that it went extinct a long time ago. Otherwise, if we could find a female beast, we might be able to reproduce the glory of that race in the past," the demon said again. Chapter 12:22, The Fleeing Rhinoceros, 2. Leng Ruoxue was taken aback. She couldn't understand why the evildoer would be dragged into this. A female? She didn't like to arrange the marriage for her subordinates or beastie. Matters of the heart should be left to nature. Hee. It's decided then. We'll help him find a female so that he can restore the glory of his race," the demon said with a proud smile. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that his idea was not bad. After all, he had to kill his future love rival in the cradle. Only then would little Shui be safe. "Demon, let's go to sleep." Leng Ruoxue wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead and changed the topic. "Yes." The demon nodded. Following that, Leng Ruoxue brought the two of them into the bangle. The next morning, Leng Ruoxue and the rest left the room and arrived at the garden. However, they realized that there were already people in the garden. A devastatingly beautiful man was sitting on a chair in the garden, and opposite him, on the stone table, was a furry, snow-white little beast. The little beast's eyes were as black as ink, and they were emitting a hot glow like the sun. Saliva was dripping from the corner of its mouth, wetting the soft fur around its mouth. Seeing this scene, everyone's foreheads could not help but be filled with black lines. They were all deeply speechless. Xiao Xiao actually drooled at Ziyu. However, everyone knew that Xiao Xiao was definitely not mesmerized by Ziyu's beauty. Instead, she had treated the beautiful Ziyu as food. At this moment, Ziyu was also staring at Xiao Xiaoyan with a trace of playfulness in her eyes. She said indifferently, "You really want to eat me?" "Yes, I do." Xiao Xiao was very honest. What use did it have if it wanted to? Its sister wouldn't allow it. Moreover, if it wanted to eat this half-orc, it wouldn't be able to do so without its sister's help. It couldn't defeat this half-orc now, let alone eat him. So, it could only look at him and satisfy its craving. Oh! How sad and pitiful it was. Hee hee. You're honest, but you can't eat me now. Ziyu reminded. I know. That's why I'm only looking. I'm not eating. Xiao Xiao's eyes were filled with tears as she said pitifully. You're pretty cute, little thing. Ziyu stretched out her hand and gently stroked the soft fur on Xiao Xiao's body. Don't touch me. I don't like you. Its small body writhed and struggled non-stop. Unfortunately, in Ziyu's eyes, it was just a small child who didn't pose any threat. I do like you. I once had a puppy that was about the same size as you. However, it was killed by my clansman when it tried to save me. Aside from his parents, that little dog was his best friend. Although dog-type beasts had a very low status in the beast realm, they were the easiest to tame in the eyes of humans. Furthermore, they were extremely loyal, unlike some beasts with noble bloodlines who looked down on ordinary humans. Reading on mybo.snow.com please. Even after he had become a half-orc, the puppy still stayed by his side and gave him the only warmth. At that time, even his parents had despised him, but his best friend had not. However, his best friend had been mercilessly killed by his own clansmen. However, he could not avenge his friend. This was his greatest regret. Sometimes, he even felt that he was too useless. Unfortunately, he was too weak. Moreover, his identity in the divine world would be condemned by everyone. If Beastie found him, it would not let him go either. He was not afraid of death, but he wanted to avenge his friend. Therefore, he had to keep his life. Damn it, I'm not a dog. When Xiao Xiao heard that he was being mistaken for a dog again, he couldn't help but roar angrily. Then, he opened his small mouth and bit Ziyu's finger fiercely. Immediately, blood flowed out along the teeth marks he made. Have you sucked enough? You little vampire. Ziyu said in a pampering tone. Not only did this little thing bite him, but it had also sucked his blood. Sigh. His blood wasn't that easy to suck, and he couldn't help but think to himself with some evil intentions. Your blood is quite delicious. Xiao Xiao let go of her mouth and licked her lips as if she had not had enough. However, why did it feel dizzy? Could it be that it got drunk after drinking some blood? After she finished speaking, Xiao Xiao swayed her little body, lowered her head with a plop, and fell asleep. What's wrong with Xiao Xiao? Seeing that Xiao Xiao had fainted, Len Ruoxue and the rest walked over and could not help but ask curiously. It drank my blood. Ziyu explained with a faint smile. Ah. Does your blood have a hypnotic effect? Len Ruoxue asked in shock. She had seen from afar that Xiao Xiao was still alive and kicking. It had only been a short while, and she had actually fallen asleep. It was truly unbelievable. Almost. However, after this little thing awakens, it shouldn't have any more enmity towards me. Ziyu said with a mysterious smile. Oh. Then you're safe. Len Ruoxue laughed evilly and thought to herself, did Ziyu intentionally get Xiao Xiao to bite me? When Xiao Xiao slowly woke up and saw Ziyu again, she was indeed much closer to him. Moreover, she stuck to Ziyu all day long, making everyone extremely puzzled. They all wondered in their hearts, could it be that eating a little of his blood was so useful? After staying here for a few days, Ziyu had become familiar with everyone. Sometimes, she would even take the initiative to chat with them. Moreover, the feeling of being with them made Ziyu feel very comfortable. One must know that even in the past, when he was in the family, he had never been so relaxed. However, after knowing that they would leave here tomorrow, his mood became low. "Do you guys have to leave tomorrow?" Ziyu said, full of reluctance. "Yup. We've been staying here for a few days, and we'd like to go to other places. Besides, we're not far from here. If you miss us, you can come to us." Leng Ruoxue chuckled, obviously playing hard to get. Feng De and the others also said that they welcomed him as a guest, and no one suggested for him to join their team. "Oh." Ziyu nodded, feeling very conflicted in his heart. In fact, he really wanted to leave with them. For so many years, he had never met anyone who didn't reject him. He also wanted to have friends, but ever since his bloodline returned to its ancestor, this kind of thought had become an extravagant hope. However, none of them had said that they wanted him to leave with them, so he was embarrassed to ask. He was afraid that they would reject him. Chapter 12:23, The Fleeing Rhinoceros, 3. Looking at Ziye's conflicted expression, Leng Ruoxue knew that this fellow was tempted. Hence, she decided to strike while the iron was hot. "Actually, if you're willing, you can leave with us. After all, you're quite lonely here." Leng Ruoxue chuckled. "Aren't you afraid of being implicated by me?" Ziyu was a little hesitant. It was good to be with them, but once he thought of his identity, he couldn't leave with them so easily, although he really wanted to. "What's there to be afraid of? Whoever dares to provoke us is courting death," Feng De said loudly. "That's right, Ziyu. Don't be afraid. I will protect you." Suizhu patted her chest and promised. "I'm just afraid that you'll be implicated by me." "Since you're not afraid, I'll go with you," Ziyu said very seriously. "Okay, let's go then. By the way, go and pack your things. We'll wait for you outside," Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. When she said outside, she was naturally referring to outside the house. "I don't have anything to pack," Ziyu said, a little embarrassed. He had only been cultivating and sleeping, so he had not saved anything. "Then let's just go," Leng Ruoxue said. After everyone had left the house, she kept the house and everyone left the place, heading towards the second place that Xiao Xiao had sensed danger from. The second location wasn't far from here, so they arrived in less than an hour. Leng Ruoxue was speechless as she looked at the desolate land in front of her. Why was this place so different from the place where Ziyu had stayed previously? If the place where Ziyu lived was a scenic spot with picturesque scenery, then this place was a desolate desert. "Miss, this place," Feng De looked at the bare yellow land in front of him and did not know what to say. He never knew that there would be a barren land in the forest. This was truly unbelievable. There isn't even a tree here. Are there any beasts living here? Lu Tao's face was also filled with curiosity. At this moment, not even a blade of grass could be found in front of them. She could not believe that any beastie would be willing to stay here. "There are." Ziyu nodded. He didn't expect that they would actually come here. If it wasn't necessary, he wouldn't be willing to come here. "Ah. You know about it?" Feng Da's face was full of surprise. However, after thinking about it, he didn't find it strange anymore. After all, Ziyu had lived in this forest for many years. It was normal for her to know some beasts. Reading on Maibo's Snow.com please. I've once fought with the beastie that lives here. That beastie is very strong. As for what kind of strength it has now, I'm not very sure. Ziyu said with a frown. He had fought with that beastie many years ago. At that time, he had won with great difficulty. After that, they had not met again. What kind of beastie is it? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. It was a giant rhinoceros. At that time, its strength was comparable to mine, but its defense was very high. So, we fought very hard and I won with great difficulty. Ziyu explained. Oh. Leng Ruoxue finally understood. Miss, since there's only one giant rhinoceros here, do we still want to go in? Fengde could not help but ask. Of course, we have to let it know who the real owner of this place is. I don't want any beasts to cause any trouble in my territory. Leng Ruoxue said with a faint smile. She was trying to get the rhinoceros to behave. After all, a rhinoceros had a very short temper. However, she didn't intend to kill the rhinoceros. Hee hee. Miss, let's go in then. Fengde laughed evilly. He loved to teach people and beasts a lesson. Yes. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Following that, the group headed towards the giant rhinoceros lair. Leng Ruoxue and the rest walked past the barren land and came to a cave. According to Ziyu, this should be the lair of the giant rhinoceros. Young miss, this cave seems to be quite old. I don't know if the rhinoceros is still inside. If it's not, then we've come here for nothing. Fengde couldn't help but remind him. Since we're already here, we naturally have to go and take a look. Leng Ruoxue said very seriously. She did not want to make a wasted trip, so since she was here, she had to get to the bottom of this. Then I'll go down and take a look. If that rhinoceros is inside, I'll force it out. Fengde said after thinking for a while. No need to go down, I have a way to force it up. Ziyu stopped Fengde, who was about to jump into the hole. Oh. I'll leave it to you then. After Fengde finished speaking, he gave up his seat. Yes. Ziyu nodded, and then, he began to gather water attribute divine power in his hand. When the water attribute divine power in his hand was about the size of a blue ball, he threw the big water ball directly into the hole. This is enough? Fengde asked, a little dumbfounded. He had only thrown a water ball into the cave, and the giant rhinoceros would run up by itself? Yes. Ziyu nodded and then explained, giant rhinos don't care about hygiene, so they hate water the most. As long as they come into contact with water, they'll definitely be furious. Before Ziyu could finish her sentence, everyone heard a deafening roar coming from the entrance of the cave. Damn it, who dares to throw a water ball into this king's cave? Grandpa won't let you off. As soon as the roar ended, everyone saw a black shadow scuttle out of the hole and land in front of them. However, it was not a giant rhinoceros, but a mimic small rhinoceros. This little rhinoceros body was as black as ink, and it had a pair of large bronze-like eyes. At this moment, it was glaring fiercely at Fengde and the others. However, when its gaze landed on Ziyu, it couldn't help but roar loudly, so it's you, you dead fish. Why did you bring so many humans to my place? Are you trying to take revenge on me? I was the one who was beaten up last time. Can you be clear about this? The little rhinoceros was so angry that it was about to explode. It admitted that it had provoked this guy for no reason, but didn't it also learn its lesson? Why did he bring so many people to find trouble with it now? This was too much. How could he let the rhinoceros live? It was getting angrier and angrier, and the more it thought about it, the more pitiful it felt. How could it have such a petty and vengeful neighbor? Woo-woo. A bad guy who helped others while helping others. At this time, in the little rhinoceros' heart, it had already used all the words it could think of on Ziyu. Did I say I'm here to take revenge? Ziyu said, a little speechless. This rhinoceros was really too uncultured. It didn't even give them a chance to speak before it started to roar loudly. It was really impolite. Then what are you doing here? You even threw water into my cave. Don't you know that I hate water the most? The little rhinoceros glared at him with its big eyes and roared unhappily. I just wanted to call you up. Otherwise, I wouldn't have just thrown a small water ball. Ziyu reminded. Oh. That's true. The little rhinoceros thought for a moment and felt that Ziyu's words were not without reason. However, it was still very angry, because it hated water too much. Water was simply its natural enemy. Then why did you call me up here? Although it was still a little dissatisfied with Ziye's method of calling it up, it could already calm down a little. I didn't call you, it's my family's young miss. Ziyu pointed at Leng Ruoxue. Ever since he had decided to leave with Leng Ruoxue and the rest, he had considered himself Leng Ruoxue's subordinate. Oh. Human, why did you call me up? The little rhinoceros glared at Leng Ruoxue and asked. I just want to inform you that this nightmare forest is now my territory, and you are a resident of my territory. So, you must follow the order of the territory and not do anything that will harm my territory. Leng Ruoxue said directly. Your territory? On what basis? The little rhinoceros understood that the entire forest, including the place it was living in, belonged to the human in front of it. So, this human was here to declare his sovereignty. However, it had lived here for so long, why should it give up its place to a human? No matter how it thought about it, it felt that it was unfair. Just because I'm the master of this place, if you want to continue staying here, then you'd better behave yourself and not cause any trouble. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Leng Ruoxue warned. I've lived here for so long, but I've never heard of this place having an owner. I won't admit it. The little rhinoceros turned its head and said arrogantly. You don't want to admit? I'll make you admit it. After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, she gave Fengde and the rest a look. Fengde and the rest understood her meaning and immediately surrounded the little rhinoceros, giving it a good beating. By the time the little rhinoceros reacted, its body was already covered in wounds. If it wasn't for its thick skin, it wouldn't have been able to withstand the group of barbarian humans. Fengde and the others also knew the thickness of the rhinoceros' skin, so they didn't show any mercy. Not long after, the little rhinoceros was beaten until it cried out in pain, You bunch of barbarians, what's the point of ganging up on me? If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. One-on-one? Do you think we're stupid? I'm going to fight you one-on-one, and you're not dead yet. I'm afraid we'll be exhausted to death. Also, whose grandfather are you? You dare to call yourself a grandfather in front of your father? Who else should I beat up if not you? Fengde said as he punched. The divine power in his hand gathered in his fist, and he hit the rhinoceros again and again. Arg! I'm angry. The little rhinoceros roared and suddenly disappeared without a trace. Where was the rhinoceros? How did it disappear? Fengde's face was full of question marks, and his eyes couldn't help but drift to Ziyu. It ran away. Ziye's forehead was filled with black lines. These people actually forced that arrogant rhinoceros to use its ultimate move. They were really powerful. Moreover, when he saw the miserable state of the rhinoceros, he couldn't help rejoicing. It was fortunate that he hadn't fought with them like this silly rhinoceros. Otherwise, wouldn't the rhinoceros' fate be his? It managed to escape under our tight defense. It seems like it has some ability. Fengde praised. Beasts basically all have life-saving tricks, and the move that the rhinoceros used just now is one of its own talents. In a situation where it can't beat its opponent, it can be said to have tried and failed time and time again. It once used that move against me. Ziyu said with a light smile. Oh. What should he do now? We actually let that sly rhinoceros escape. We were too careless. Fengde said in a very vexed manner. Chapter 12:24, Rhinoceros Battle, 1. If you run away, you can only force it back up. However, that rhinoceros is very cunning. It knows that it can't beat you, so I'm afraid it won't come up so easily this time. Ziyu said with understanding. Then, she threw a few large water balls into the cave. However, there was no reaction at all in the cave. It could be seen how firm the will of the giant rhinoceros was. It had made up its mind not to come up. Fuck. Didn't it hate water the most? Why didn't it roll up after so much water was poured down? Fengde roared in anger. What a cunning creature. Although the rhinoceros looked stupid, he didn't expect it to be so scheming. I quite admire its patience. He's a beastie who can accomplish great things. Len Ruoxue couldn't help but tease when she saw Feng Die's flustered and exasperated look. Miss, you're still praising it. Fuck, I'll go down and pull it up myself. Feng De said in anger. After he finished speaking, he was about to jump down again. However, this time, he was pulled back by Len Ruoxue. What's the hurry? Look at how calm that giant rhinoceros is, you have to learn from it, you can't be so anxious about everything. Len Ruoxue advised. Oh. Feng De replied unwillingly, but he hated the giant rhinoceros to death in his heart. When the giant rhinoceros came up, he would beat it up so badly that even its mother wouldn't be able to recognize it. The premise was that it had to have a mother. Miss, what should we do now? That damn rhinoceros is not coming up. Feng De couldn't help but ask. Continue to fill it with water. There's not enough water now, so of course it won't come up. Len Ruoxue laughed evilly. Now that there was still space for the giant rhinoceros to live in the underground cave, it was naturally unwilling to come up and throw its life away for the sake of its safety. However, what if it could no longer stay down there? At that time, it would have no choice but to remember. Yes. Under Len Ruoxue's command, everyone with the water attribute threw water balls into the cave. Not long after, the water in the cave slowly surged up. After throwing water balls for a while, the water had already overflowed the cave and flowed towards the other flat ground. It's almost time, let's stop. Len Ruoxue chuckled and asked Ziyu, is there any other exit in this giant rhinoceros cave? No, this place is surrounded by mountains and hard rocks, so the giant rhinoceros can only come out from here, unless it would rather wait for death than come out. Ziyu said with a smile, but in his heart, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. He was once again shocked by these people's big spending. Oh my god. If it was a giant rhinoceros, and the cave had been filled with so much water, it would have come out to surrender long ago. How could it still hide in the cave? When he thought of this, he was somewhat impressed by the rhinoceros' patience. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw a black shadow scuttle out of the hole. It was the flustered and angry black mimicked rhinoceros. The little black rhinoceros was floating in the air, staring at them with its eyes burning with fire. They stared back at it, not to be outdone. Both sides stared at each other for a long time before the little rhinoceros opened its mouth angrily and said, "Despicable humans, you actually destroyed Grandpa's home. You really deserve to die. I won't let you off." With that, the little black rhinoceros suddenly grew to the size of a small mountain before it stopped growing. When Feng De and the others saw this, they couldn't help but laugh. I say, little rhino. Do you think that your mimicry appearance is too small and not enough for us to beat up, so you want to make it bigger so that it's more convenient for us to attack? You're so considerate. Reading on mybo.xnovel.com please. It is. You're such a considerate beastie, well definitely love you well. Everyone spoke at once, angering the giant rhinoceros that was floating in the air. Detestable. How detestable. Grandpa is so angry. I'm going to kill you all. The giant rhinoceros roared in anger. After that, it swooped down from the sky and attacked Feng De and the others. However, Feng De and the others were not in a hurry. They just casually added a layer of defense in front of them and waited for the giant rhinoceros to walk into the trap. After the giant rhinoceros landed from the sky, it swept its huge, thick tail, trying to sweep Feng De and the others away. However, it did not expect to hit nothing, which made it even more angry. Cunning humans, don't hide if you have the guts. The giant rhinoceros roared in anger. Little rhinoceros, you're wrong. You're clearly only allowing the state officials to light the lamps, not allowing the commoners to set them on fire. You can use your talent to escape, but we can't hide. What kind of logic is this? Feng De retorted sarcastically with a look of disdain on his face. However, His words made the giant rhinoceros furious, and all the new and old grudges surged up. Is that the same? I only have myself, but you have so many people. If I didn't run, I would have been beaten into meat paste by you, humph. Fight me one-on-one if you dare. The giant rhinoceros provoked. Well, have a one-on-one just because you said so. That would be so embarrassing for me, and also, little rhinoceros. If you still call yourself grandpa, I'll beat you up until your grandpa can't recognize you. Fongda warned. You dare. If you have the ability, come and beat me up. Humph. I'm not afraid of you. The giant rhinoceros said stubbornly, its bull-like temper rising. Hee hee. You're the one who asked us to beat you up, so don't cry. Fongda said with a smirk. Then, he gave his brothers a look, and everyone understood and attacked the giant rhinoceros. Fongda and the others divided the work and worked together, attacking from top to bottom. Fists and divine skills flew out at the same time, all of which smashed into the giant rhinoceros' body, causing it to cry out in pain again. Despicable humans, you dare to gang up on me again. Ah! How detestable! The giant rhinoceros cried out in pain, but unfortunately, no one paid any attention to it, much less felt any heartache. Did we say we wouldn't gang up on you? We are one entity, and there is no distinction between us. Therefore, we will naturally share our blessings, our difficulties, and our fights. Fongda explained with a smile. Ha ha ha. That's right. Chengwu also laughed out loud. The divine skill in his hand smashed towards the giant rhinoceros as if he didn't care about his life. As he smashed, he didn't forget to stuff medicinal pills into his mouth to replenish the divine power he had used up. It couldn't be helped, this giant rhinoceros' skin was too thick. They had to fight a long battle. The master of the Ning family and the great elder, who were watching the battle from the side, could not help but feel embarrassed when they saw Fongda and the others' shameless fighting style. They thought to themselves, a fight can actually be fought like this, sigh. Why are these little rascals so wasteful? They had lived for so long, but they had never seen anyone force medicinal pills into their mouths while fighting. What a prodigal! Chapter 12:25, Rhinoceros Battle, 2. When other people were fighting, it was not bad to be able to eat a medicinal pill to replenish their divine power. But they threw large amounts into their mouths. It really made people envious, jealous, and hateful. And those who had similar thoughts as them naturally included Ziyu, who had opened his eyes. He had lived for so long, but he had never seen anyone eat medicinal pills in this way. Could it be that medicinal pills in the immortal realm were not worth much now? Actually, this was mainly because he had not been with Leng Ruoxue and the rest for long. Hence, he naturally did not know that Leng Ruoxue's subordinates and the beasts would eat pills for fun when they had nothing to do because they tasted pretty good. As for Lu Feng, Mo Yen, and the others, they were much calmer, because in their eyes, whatever these people did was normal. Even if other people thought that it was incredible, it was normal for them to do it. When Bing Yao saw this, he praised Fengde and the others, and he couldn't help but cheer for them, hee hee. Come on, boys, don't embarrass your miss and me. Beat this little rhinoceros to the ground, woo. The rhinoceros skin is quite good for making armor. Despicable humans, you actually want to use Grandpa's skin to make armor. Grandpa is really angry. Ah. I'm angry. When the giant rhinoceros heard Bing Yao's words, it couldn't care less about the pain and couldn't help but roar. Ah. You're angry. So you weren't angry before. Bing Yao said in realization. Little rhinoceros, show me your anger. I've never seen an angry rhinoceros before. Bing Yao urged. After that, he took out a piece of red cloth from somewhere and spread it in front of him. Come quickly. I have your favorite red color, come on. Come quickly. Bing Yao continued to urge him and got into position, ready for the bullfight. When Leng Ruoxue saw her senior brother's actions, beads of sweat started to fall from her forehead. She thought to herself, could it be that senior brother has been to my previous world? Otherwise, how would he know to use red cloth to fight bulls? However, not all bulls like to be beaten, right? Moreover, she had never heard of anyone using a red cloth to fight a rhinoceros. That was a rhinoceros, okay? Hee hee. Bing Yao is quite funny. The demon at the side couldn't help but laugh when he saw this. Yup. Leng Ruoxue wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead and said helplessly. This was not the first time she had seen her senior brother's antics. Just as Leng Ruoxue finished her sentence, the furious giant rhinoceros only said 2 words, detestable. He found a chance to pass Feng De and the others, and pounced on Bing Yao. However, it naturally ended up pouncing on nothing. Bing Yao turned around elegantly, then shook the red flag in his hand at the giant rhinoceros. Little rhinoceros, come on. I have faith in you. Reading on mybo.xnovel.com please. Detestable. The giant rhinoceros' nostrils were exhaling white air as it continuously kicked the ground with its huge hooves. Then, a whoosh sound was heard. Then, he charged towards Bing Yao, but he missed again. Damn human, don't hide if you have the guts. The giant rhinoceros saw that it had missed its target twice, and the anger in its heart began to rise. In addition, Feng De and the others were staring at it from the side, which made it feel even more pressured. Its innate life-saving skill could not be used frequently, so it could only fight them head-on now. Fortunately, its skin was rough and thick. Otherwise, if it were any other beast, it would have been tortured to death by them long ago. These abominable humans, abominable humans. It couldn't help but curse in its heart. Little rhinoceros. Do you know the rules? If I don't dodge, can I still be called a bullfight? Bullfighting, the one I'm fighting is naturally you. If I were to be beaten by you, wouldn't I become a laughingstock? Bing Yao laughed evilly. Bullfight? Damn it, you actually think him a bull? Detestable. The giant rhinoceros' bell-like eyes narrowed in anger. The 2 streams of white gas that came out of its nostrils became even more intense. This also meant that it was even more furious. You've always been awesome. Bing Yao said angrily. I'm not a bull. The giant rhinoceros roared in anger. In order to prove that it was different from the other bulls, it charged towards Bing Yao again. Bing Yao laughed to himself. This silly rhinoceros, you still dare to say that you're not a bull? If you're not a bull, then why are you always running to my side? I don't have any grass for you to eat. Just like that, the giant rhinoceros charged at Bing Yao again and again. Although it failed every time, it was not discouraged. It worked hard with an indomitable spirit until it was too tired to run anymore. However, when it lay on the ground and panted heavily, its big eyes were still staring at Bing Yao fiercely. Now, its hatred for this man who was as pretty as a gigolo had surpassed Feng De and the others. Bing Yao saw that the giant rhinoceros was so tired that it fell to the ground, and consoled it considerately, little rhinoceros, rest well. Don't be in a hurry to get up. I will wait for you. Humph. The giant rhinoceros turned its head and decided not to look at it anymore. Otherwise, it would become the first rhinoceros in the godly mainland to be angered to death. It didn't want to become a huge disgrace to the rhinoceros clan. Little rhinoceros, don't ignore me. Come, be good. Talk to me. Bing Yao saw the giant rhinoceros turn its head and couldn't help but smile and open his mouth to coax. However, his words did not receive any response. Feng De and the others were all speechless, but they still admired Bing Yao. As expected of her Miss Senior brother. They had been beating it up for so long, but they hadn't been able to cause much damage to the little rhinoceros. However, Bing Yao just took out a piece of red cloth and shook it a few times, and the silly rhinoceros was so tired that it fell to the ground. It was unbelievable. In fact, what they didn't know was that the rhinoceros was tired, but more than that, it was angry. It was both tired and angry, so the rhinoceros fell. Little rhinoceros, quickly get up and continue playing with me. It's rare for me to see a bull, so you can't disappoint me. Little Rhinoceros, don't be lazy, quickly get up. Otherwise, I'll kill all the female rhinos in the forest and make sure you can't find a wife. Little Rhinoceros, quickly get up. If you continue to be lazy, I'll make sure you can't be a male beast. Let's see how you're going to carry on the family line after I kill you, humph.